Support for Streamers Off Stream is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. And because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor.
It's true, you can. I used to have a problem with my hair going everywhere. It used to be on the floor, it used to be in the sink, it used to just go everywhere. And my wife hated it. But now I can shave in the shower. And the hair just goes down the drain. And my wife loves me. Happy days.
Well, if that sounds good to you, you can go to manscaped.com and use code SOS for 20% off and free shipping. And there we go, we're recording. We're not live, like we almost were the first time. This is take number 40. And
take number 40, yeah.
The best take of them all.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we started at 10 a.m. It's now 1 a.m. the following day.
Yeah.
But we're there. We got there.
Every single one of those takes
Happy
was
days.
an hour long before we realized someone's audio was off. So
Can I go home?
no.
No.
We should do a stream today? Because no, you're not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, it's already a day's gone by, so.
There
But
you
I'm
go.
ready to
I
go.
mean-
I'm excited.
Yeah. What time are you streaming at?
I'm streaming at 2, so I
2.
mean, it's only 10 now. We got plenty of time.
I've got the gym at 1. I started back at the gym, but anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby, congratulations.
You know,
Getting
personal
them
trainer.
gains in.
I think it was about time. I seen Cal up at Gamerfest, the wee spaghetti arms on him, and you know,
Man.
I could push him over with a gust of wind.
Yeah.
Get him back into it now. You see the size of that?
It's happened. It's happened. You know?
You got,
But wait.
you got them
That's
noodly
not straight,
babies.
Just give it a couple of weeks, and I'll have to get a new hat because this one won't fit my bulky head. I'm gonna be ripped. I'm gonna be shredded. You know, my
I'm looking
wife is
forward
gonna
to it.
leave me because she's gonna like, oh, who is this? Blah, this.
But
this
you'll
lobster."
gain me. You'll gain me. Do you know what I mean? And that's
This is
the main
true.
thing.
This is true. These are goals. You know, these are all
Some
the goals
Keith
I'm
and
going
Cal
for.
loving. I mean, it's beautiful.
I know the Keith and Cal. Oh, there we go. Hey, we can play Stir. Keith and Cal show.
Keith and Cal. I
Sorry,
mean, there's
Jer.
alliteration. You know, it's just at the start of it.
Hi, Jar.
You hardly got into the gym again because of our friend who wears the helmet, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll do it.
that's the
Your
motivation.
friend who wears the helmet.
for next
Do
week,
tell.
guys.
It's
Yeah, he's it's things to come. You shall see. But
Okay,
there's a
okay.
guy who wears a helmet
mm.
and he likes to bench press. Press.
Press.
Okay. I mean, like it's a good
Fresh.
combo. So
It is.
I'm looking
I mean,
forward to it.
Just in case you drop the press in your helmet. They're happy days. You
That's
know?
safety first. I think that's why he does it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Safety first. Yeah. But Keith, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us, by the way.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. I'm excited to peel the onion layers back on my life.
You're an ogre.
Classic Shrek reference. You just got to get it in there straight away. You know.
Yeah. Once it's out the way, that's it.
Somebody.
So we're peeling back the layers right now. Here's one. Here's childhood trauma. Here is
Yeah.
least favorite.
Oh, it's gonna get deep.
This isn't
I have
expected, and I
tissues
thought it
at the
would be.
ready. I'm assuming this is like a therapy session. It's either these
Worse.
tissues
Yes.
are for diddling and crying. Do you know what I mean? The classic crank, as we like to call it.
Good lad. Ready for the
It's-
crank at all
it-
times. I'm not the only one. My Manscaped wipes right beside me. Thank God. By the way, did you know?
Oh yeah, what level of podcast is this? By the way, is this like 18s? Is this 12s? Where are you going?
I mean,
Don't watch it with your parents.
yeah. Does it have a level? It's definitely
somewhere between
yeah.
20 and like 60. You know, if you fit.
Yeah.
in that
Okay,
range,
perfect. Okay,
watch it.
Yeah.
perfect.
It's so yeah, go nuts, you know. Be
Yeah.
yourself. Happy days.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'd have it no other way.
Like that's not to say that we had a podcast before where we had to we recorded for a few hours and had to only get an hour out of it because
Oh,
we couldn't
really?
use it, but
Because it was that filthy, your minds went
It was
that
so
dark and
controversial.
degenerate
It
so
was
quickly.
So filthy.
yeah.
Halfway through, I just went like, lads, we cannot post this. We have to go again.
Yeah.
And thankfully,
Really?
the guest said, yeah, it was fine.
Well, we're
We
still
in
all
kind
of limbo land.
shit-faced.
Okay, well that will kind of do it. At least this is early morning. I'm assuming you're not shit faced right now, are you?
Irish coffee, you cannot beat it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair,
Oh,
that's
you
fair,
got the-
that's
yeah,
fair.
yeah. Here we go.
Cheers,
So-
lads. Frank and honest.
Ah,
Honestly, that's
good
what I would say.
old little coffee. There we
Oh.
go.
When you're a
Little-
content creator, You know, you can't be buying branded stuff. Let's be honest. That's the number one rule. Once you're going into this type of territory, you got to get everything that doesn't have a label on it. It comes from some back shelf, and you know, it's a day from going off. Do you know what I mean? So it's got that 50-cent reduction on it. So
great point, because at Gamerfest, I seen everyone had cardboard stuff in their shoes, and holes in their shirts.
yeah.
One of them I think was intentional, and she was a rich one, but the rest, we were all begging for pints. No one bought anything for the whole night.
Yeah,
I mean, it's handy because you don't need to buy pants either. Like, I mean, with the camera from here, do you know what I mean? You can only you only need to buy t-shirts. You know, you need for the top half.
I'm actually wearing a crop top.
Oh, baby.
You can't see down that far.
Getting that belly button action on. And at least we're still in the limbo land at the start where, you know what I mean, you can take any of this out anyway. Do you know, if you feel like you've revealed too much, do you know?
Yes. If I sit back too far or...
nothing out. It's not what we do here.
No, nothing.
I like it.
And a serious glare off my glasses. I need to...
Oh, yeah, mine are... No. Not at all.
Yeah, well...
Tell me about the sunglasses. Is this is the energy of Jer?
All right, so I started streaming. It was a dark, cold day.
Sure.
Lightning.
Emotionally or like
both, yes.
Okay.
You ever see the start of like an old Johnny Depp film?
Sure. A bit of Tim Burton-esque kind of.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. Sweeney Todd.
There was no scissoring in that film, by the way, which is my biggest disappointment. But
I thought you never watched it.
You didn't watch the parody, did you?
Anyway, after a while, my community started saying, the G-Man. And I was like, oh, the fuck do you mean by that? And I put on sunglasses, they'd be like, there's the G-Man.
I feel it, yeah. And you got the bandana as well of like your fallen comrades.
Well, I stole this partly from...
Dr. Disrespect Jr.
Yeah.
Disrespect from Wish. Sorry, I can say it.
I hate it.
I love it.
I stole this off our buddy Woods, James C. Burns. This is green. This like, man would be red.
You're looking hot, man.
Sunglasses, man. So many streamers wear sunglasses. I copied Jack the Basics because he said he could read chat while making it look like he's facing the game he's playing.
Genuine question though, and this is something I'm very curious about for people who do wear sunglasses, because there's a few people who do, right? Does it not like fuck up your eyes? Like, do you find that like looking at a screen all the time, like does it not feel like you're in semi-darkness, or like does it feel like it like grates on your eyes after if you do like a 5-hour stream or something?
When I've done like 12-hour streams with sunglasses on, there's not been a single time I wasn't brought out on a stretcher.
Okay.
No, genuinely, your eyes adjust. You know, like it's the same as if your room was slightly dark or it was like too bright.
Okay.
Your eyes adjust. Or most streamers haven't done this, but if you've ever been outside, it's actually bright outside as well, and you might need these, and you don't go blind with those.
Sure. And have you ever done an eye reveal? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there like? Baby, you see that? This is the thing, right? Because it's leaving a bit of mystery. Do you know, it's like coming out in lingerie. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to show everything first try. You kind of want to leave a bit of sassy, sexy mystery. So when you do pop those peepers down, it makes me feel something. Do you know?
Yeah. Instant reaction there. You know, I love that.
It's great for new people because they haven't seen my eyes, and they'd be watching for a week, and they'd be like, "Do you have eyes?" And I'd be like, "No." And randomly one day I'll just be like, does it really say that on screen?
Yeah.
People are gonna lose their minds.
Clip
everyone gets really uncomfortable and everyone just unfollows. It's like, oh my god. It's peering into my soul.
Jesus Christ. Why do his eyes look like that?
It's like I got the hat, and I've been wearing the hat since I started streaming last year, and it was only last month I took it off for a whole month. And
the hat made a return yesterday, was it?
It made the return yesterday, yeah, but same thing. It's weird taking it off. And people like,
you know, from like a psychological point of view, I think it's really, really interesting as well, because like I have a therapy background, right? And I think there's something very interesting, like when we were always told if you're feeling like having it's almost like a bit of armor. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you can have days where you're feeling wrecked and you're tired, and you know, like having your hat or having the glasses or having something that like gives you just that little bit of like, you know, if you're feeling tired, you had a shit day, it's almost like a little layer of comfortability that like when you're kind of, because you know you're going into kind of some form of a kind of a, you know, a virtual stage, so it's nice sometimes to have a bit of comfort, like whether it's a jumper or a scarf or something that makes you feel just that extra little bit, you know, more
It-
comfortable, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's
Feels
like
slightly called out.
yes,
Slightly. I used to do similar thing when I did archery.
Mhm.
You know, you go to the World Championship, you're gonna be fucking nervous. So one thing I
Sure.
would do is I'd find something interesting. I used to have a paddy cap. It was grey. Slap it
Mhm.
on.
Sure.
I have my lovely Irish jumper on, and I look.
Mhm.
Oh Jesus, he looks the part. He looks like he could be an athlete from that country. Because you know the German guys, they show up with their Oktoberfest
Sure.
giant mugs, and they don't even shoot, but somehow they win. I do the Irish thing, you know.
No, I get you. I think
Yeah.
everyone kind of
I
has their
rocked that hat
things
for
that makes
fucking
them comfortable.
4 years. 4 years.
They
of
do.
shooting.
4 years, nice.
4
That's dedication. How old is the hat you have, Cal? How far does this date back? 1492.
Passed on from my dad, from his dad, from his dad. No, I got this in Gold Coast. Would have been August last year, I think. Before
Okay.
I started stream. September last year I got this.
And how
I
long
have
have
a
you
whole
been
collection of them.
streaming for?
Since September last year.
Okay, you're fucking flying it, baby.
So yeah, no, that's where the old hat is from. I got a few of them now. But yeah,
And
I love
Jer,
my
how
hat.
many years around the block have you been streaming?
Not even a year.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're both absolutely killing it. Fair play
I
to you,
would
lads.
love for that to be true.
Well, I mean, you got to take it into consideration at time. Like most people are hanging
Yeah.
around, you know, 5 years, and some people like, you know, because what do you say? Like, I think like if you're above like even 10 average viewers, that's like more than 50% of streamers. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which is
And
like, you know, so
there's so many people doing it now, and just breaking into it is, tough enough. But it's great to see the Irish scene is growing. It is so good to see
sure,
the Irish scene. Like for you, Keith, I started watching you, I think maybe 5 or 6 months ago,
sure,
maybe.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I think
not gonna
around there.
lie, I found
Mhm.
you to be quite an inspiration to myself.
Oh, thank you.
So I can only imagine, like, for other people, other viewers or other young streamers getting out there watching you, I think it's just great to see Irish streamers who are breaking out there, who are getting bigger, and you are an inspiration to other people to kind of get out there as well, So
Thanks, man.
no,
That's
it's
always
great.
lovely to hear. And I think it's like, I don't know, I think like that's sometimes the highest compliment you can get, you know, like if someone's inspired by what you do. And I think sometimes what I love seeing people, you know, like if they started streaming and you see them like getting their voice, you know, their confidence builds. Obviously, you start your
Yeah.
first stream and you're kind of, you know, you're an
Guys.
unsure footing. yeah, do you know,
Yeah.
like as in,
this game today.
but totally, it's amazing because like you use all those skills then in your day-to-day life, even speaking to people. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Your confidence and like the skills you're building in terms of, you know, learning how to like express yourself in an articulate way. In my way, it's a bit of a naughty articulate way.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Lewd but never rude. But you know, it's really cool seeing people gain their confidence through doing something like this, I think. And if someone
Yeah.
gets inspired by that and then as a result they become a more confident person, I mean, that's like, because a lot of people go into streaming for a lot of those reasons, you know, to build up a
Yeah.
community, a social network, to build, you know, to feel more confident in themselves, which I think is a huge aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly. I found it for myself I started streaming because, yeah, again, I was working solid for years and my confidence was shot. I used to have loads of confidence. Like, I was very charismatic, I like to say. No, my head is going to here. But yeah, and then I just lost it all. And then I started streaming because I wanted to, again, kind of build that community and grow my confidence and help other people. And yeah, now I'm just like talk to a wall, Paul Wall
Sure.
want to get away from me,
Yeah, sure. Three of us are talking to relative walls with each other.
This is true. This is true.
What about
So, yeah,
yourself,
but-
Jer? Were you always kind of a confident person, or was it kind of something
Well,
that you
I have a
developed as you
story,
went
and my
on?
mother would have a story.
Okay.
So, I'll go with the mother one because it's a
Do.
bit nicer. So I was a very shy young lad,
Okay.
which is very true. And I wanted to do an acting job, and I didn't get it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, oh, I could do an extra job, and I got it, but I was too shy to take the pictures. It wasn't for porn. So you have to get, like,
Unfortunately.
a black t-shirt, black background. I guess a white background, and I was like, I don't want to ask anybody to help me with this. And my mom comes out, she helps. It's great. Get the job. While
The
later,
Irish mammy is important.
acting,
Mm.
get the job as well. I start booking interviews. She's like, you sound way too. This is for another project, the podcast. She said, you sound apologetic when you're asking somebody to get on. Sound confident. Sound like you're, I don't know, top of the tree, top of the mountain. I'm like, we did that. Booked some great interviews. And talking to these people, you'd learn something incredible. You'd get new insight. You obviously more confident saying like, oh, I've talked to blank. Then streaming came along because that project failed, and I just fucking boom, streaming exploded.
It clicked with you
fucking ridiculously.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I found like frustration in my life in general, right? Because I felt like there was kind of like, you have these like skills that you can't really apply to most jobs. Do you know what I mean? I think like, and from a creative point of view, I think that's very frustrating when like, I remember like being in therapy and like expressing my frustration around the fact I was like, it's all these kind of jobs that I'm kind of doing, but it's like, I feel like I'm never quite like, get to use an authentic version of myself, like doing sales and stuff like that to like a grand scheme. Like I was working in retail for 5 years and stuff like that. And you could kind of use a bit there, but not really, not to make, not to a satisfaction point of view.
Yeah.
So I think having like a platform, like, where you can, use the skills. Like for me, it could be playing guitar even, do you know what I mean? Where I don't get to do that anywhere else. Or, it could be just, using those entertainment skills, or the fact that like, like in college I would have done like, I have like masters in like guidance counseling and psychology and stuff, and being able to then have whole conversations and use that. Do you know what I mean? It's like stuff that you've done along the way that you don't get to kind of use anywhere else, and then get to like make your own environment where you can like put all those things together. And when you're using your strengths, you're building that confidence as well, which in a lot of jobs, which is a lot of people, and a lot of people love it. And it's not to say anything against that, but like, if you're sitting down, be at an office desk all day, which, suits lots of people brilliantly and they do fantastic out of it. But it depends, like if you're someone who likes to be expressive and likes to, kind of, be in a kind of a creative mindset where it's something kind of different every day, that can be frustrating. So I think finding a platform that suits your personality is like a big aspect of it as well.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't imagine sitting in the office. You're on the phone to Mary, who's trying to buy your health insurance, and you just whip out your guitar. I don't know how that goes down.
You never know.
You never know.
Come on, Mary, girl, slap it on in, you sexy girl.
But no, I agree 100%. Like I used to work in offices for years, and since I started streaming and stuff, I don't think I could ever go back into an office. Because I feel like I just can't. I could be myself, but you can only be yourself to a certain point. Whereas on stream, I've gone past that point where I used to worry about, right, I'm going to be quiet, I'm going to just be streaming, I'm going to talk. Whereas now I'm just myself on stream now, and I love it. Where sometimes it's hard to do that outside of this kind of environment, the creative environment.
And I think as well, like I used to always say, I prefer to work in a shit job with people I love than a good job with people I hate. Do you know what I mean? Because I always found that like, the people you're with that you can kind of be yourself around was like, what got me through my day. Like, so no matter what the job was, even if it wasn't something I didn't love or even kind of disliked, if you were around good people and like you kind of create your own community and your own family, because, once you're yourself and you're an authentic version enough of yourself, people are drawn to that and you get the people, similar people to you. So it's a really cool way of developing relationships and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, 100%. So I wouldn't change this for the world anyway.
Well, I mean, until, we can't pay for anything.
That's it. Yeah.
Are you full-time or part-time at the moment for streaming, or what's the story between you?
Complicated.
I'm...
Complicated.
What'd you say? Complicated, okay. Kind of a mix.
Yeah. I kind of want to... I've been full-time for a while, but for mortgage reasons, I now need to get a job because... Of course, over here in Ireland, mortgages and banks and freelance work, or whatever you want to call this, self-employed equals no house. So yeah, unfortunately for mortgage reasons, I am coming out of this full-time role, and because I've been trying to get it full-time, but yeah, have to get a part-time or something now.
Yeah, they want to see a consistent income.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you don't get on Twitch. And I think that is the scariest thing about doing something like this full time, is the fact that, it is different every month. Do you know what I mean? And like, no matter, even if you put on the exact same show and thing every day. Like, you could make €2 one day, out
Yeah.
of 5 hours, and then you could make 200 the next. You just don't know. So I think that's the only real stressful aspect about it. It's
Yeah.
the inconsistency.
It's very inconsistent, and
That
especially
is
with
the
days.
terrifying part. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Pray it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because it's like, I think obviously you want to get good at one thing, right? You don't want to spread yourself too thin, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, do YouTube and do TikTok and do this and do that, which can be great, like if you take off on one of those things. But I find, in terms of like the idea of burnout, if I'm like trying to stretch myself to all those different places, because the reality is the worst part, I think, about, doing like Twitch or whatever, is the stuff that when you're not live. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're in the middle of it, it's fantastic, it's great. But I think, trying to like, I love editing and I love doing the videos, but hashtagging things and algorithms, and you're like, fuck, man, you know what I mean?
It's just one thing after another. It's like they just change things up. It's like, I just literally learned, the TikTok algorithm, and now you go change it. That's another 6 months I have to learn. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like I spent 9 years building a following on Instagram, and now no one uses it anymore. These young whippersnappers. Yeah, same, man.
Don't even start.
It was interesting because Instagram, for me, man, it was overnight. Like, not in terms of success, in terms of the opposite way. So like, there was just literally one day. So I used to just post pictures of my setup. It was pretty like there was a time on Instagram, and it's where I would have met Nisha as well, and we do a podcast together too. And like, you could post up a photo of your setup and you could be getting like 5,000, 10,000 likes on it. And literally overnight, like, that just disappeared. It would go down to like, 100, 200, like the algorithm for gaming and all that, and then promote your post. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, well, if you want that back, and then there was like shadow banning and all these different things that would happen if using the wrong hashtags. And it's just,
I had this happen when I was like probably a couple of years in archery. I used to post like, it looks terrible. It'd be one arrow sticking into the target, kind of in the gold. Yeah, nailed it.
Sure.
Cool caption. Fucking slap my dick with 300 likes.
Yeah.
The next one, just a picture of the bow. It's cropped terribly. It's the weird angle. There's dog shit in the background. Fucking 500. Next day, one at the Nationals. It's like 40.
Sure.
Same
Yeah,
picture,
like
a week later.
Who cares about that one?
At
Like,
this point, like, the algorithm went from like, giving you the gluck to just fucking.
Sure, and because like I had a business profile in it, so I could literally see the amount of people it was reaching, and like it was, it's just like it just wasn't reaching people anymore. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't even like the photo, like, because the photo could be shit or good, people would like it, not like it, but like just from the actual technical term of it, like it was just gone overnight. I also think that's a very, very scary thing about Twitch, because like you never know what will happen Twitch, right? So it's like you could find out next year Twitch is like, well, this isn't worth our money or time anymore. I see Twitch as like a landlord. Do you know what I mean? And I hear a lot of people talk about the idea, there was going around about the 50-50 revenue split. And like, I understand the frustration with that 100%, obviously. Twitch taking 50% of your money, and then you're paying taxes and you're paying the extra expenses between the charges. Like, it's a huge amount of money going out. But at the end of the day, there is the element of like, they owe you fucking nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in ultimately they don't, because I don't even know if they're really like, making a bomb off that. Do you know what I mean? Like, overall, with the amount of servers and everything else they're using. And I think I see Twitch like a landlord. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they're happy to have you now. You'll pay your bit, they're getting their bit, and you're getting a place to stay. But like, if it doesn't suit them, whenever. And it's the same thing as well about moving. Like, you could move to YouTube, and like, you have as a shop, it could be a new landlord. It might have more footfall, it might have less of this, it might have more of that. You just don't know. Do you know?
Yeah. It's interesting because there is a lot of stigma around it all at the moment. There's a lot of uncertainty.
YouTube is a what?
It's a terrifying one to move to, because if you look at like big name streamers who went to it, like if you look at the like of Ninja or the actual Dr. Disrespect, they both said they lost over 3/4 of their income. Some other guy used to do like Twitch tips, moved over to YouTube for a month, moved straight back to Twitch. He lost 10,000 in his revenue. Now he's in a great position where he can lose 10,000. But
that's it's a nice complaint.
That's 10,000, gone.
But like, if they just built it up slowly, like if they, like what I'm doing at the moment is I'm on YouTube and on Twitch, not at the same time, of course, because I'm not allowed to. Are
Are you not allowed
Big
to
nice be
anymore?
Twitch.
No, so you're allowed to go on TikTok, Instagram, and maybe Facebook while
that
you're
was
on
only if
Twitch,
you're-
but they never let
What about Instagram?
YouTube as a part of it.
But
They
okay,
never-
so is this in your broadcasting software? Is it like, because there's no contract for affiliates, really? Sure, there's not.
There is, yeah. Affiliates aren't allowed to stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time.
I know
don't
there
think.
was a thing about that for partners, but then I heard that got recently removed. Now this could be like very wrong information through my ears, but because basically Twitch were like, yeah, our discoverability is shit, so
Yeah.
use other websites. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe at the same
Yeah,
time.
it
Now,
could be right.
at the
Yeah.
same time, anyway, because I started doing some TikTok streams as well, and the discoverability on that is a bit wild, particularly in an Irish community sense, because when you go
Yeah.
live on TikTok, it's bringing in people from your country, essentially, for the most part. That's what I've noticed. It's been 90% Irish, which is cool. And I'm a big believer in, for me anyway, for my style is kind of, I won't do both at the same time. Like I won't multi-stream just because I suppose I kind of prefer, I like kind of having a slightly different content over there where I can engage there, because it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean? Rather than, because I feel like for anyone who's even editing videos to put on TikTok, you kind of have to suit their format a bit more, you know? Like on TikTok, I'll be like, double tap the screen, flick the bean, Steamy Streams, you know what I mean? Like, give me them likes, baby, you know? Share with your exes, your grandparents, get it on in
This
there.
is why I
You know,
can't do TikTok. You have to be
Sure.
spoilers. And
It's all about niches.
No offense, no
Yeah.
offense. Like, man,
No,
I
it's
just can't.
very different. Yeah, I don't know. I think the live thing there for me was, it was a nice change, because what I'm doing there is I remove all the frills of Twitch, so it's a bit more
Yeah.
it's a bit more relaxing. So like for Twitch, you know, because I've built up a community so much over Twitch that there's obviously an element of expectation of what way I'll be and what I'll be doing and how I'll be doing it. You know what I mean? Where on TikTok, since it's kind of new, it's like, I'll just play the game. I'll just chill out. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of almost like it's a bit more relaxing. But I understand as well, like TikTok, in terms from a viewer's point of view, TikTok is fucking crack cocaine. Like, do you know what I mean? And I can feel my mental health. Like if I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is go on my phone or whatever, like I can feel, and if I go on TikTok, and you know the way it's like, there's no
Just scroll.
you're just scrolling, right? Because there's
Yeah.
nothing to stop you. Do you know, it's just one
Yeah.
video. There's no, like, you know, on Instagram, you could go into your homepage, you could go into whatever, but there's no interface. Do you know, it's just
Yeah.
video after video. And like, geez, if I spend an hour on that, and the worst thing to do is go on your phone in the morning anyway, but like head wrecked completely.
Yeah. And you just go down this rabbit hole. That's the worst part. You know,
Yeah.
I don't TikTok. I think with content creation as well. I mean, with TikTok, it's all about niches. You know, you need to find your niche, and that way you find your community. And if you step away from that niche any bit, people just don't click into you anymore. It's I don't know. I said it's like a drug to a lot of people. But I'm still on it.
Yeah, I am
You know,
too. In an essence,
so-
I think from a user point of view, though, I just need to like
Yeah.
delete the app. Do you know what I mean? And from a creator
Yeah.
point of view, I'm happy doing the live stuff. Because like the one thing I wish Twitch had was just like a proper discover page. So
Yeah.
like that's the only thing. So the only credit I would give TikTok, and that is if you go into a live and you swipe up, you'll just get some random streams based on who else you're following, what type of content, what category it's in. And I think you don't have that on Twitch. You have a tiny recommended of like 3 streamers in a corner, but having like a natural, if someone had a way of like, you know, flicking up, now, do you want it? I don't know, but
Yeah.
like you have to pick a category, right? Like on TikTok, people find you by pretty much the game you're playing. Do you know? And like if you're playing a game no one heard of or is looking at, it's very unlikely someone's going to find you. And that, I think there needs to be a way around that. I think the category is like too important in how people find you.
Yeah. Twitch is very difficult for discoverability, that's for sure. And they haven't made it easy as of late either.
Like the new tag system, like I don't understand what
Yeah.
that's about.
I know you can literally write whatever tag you want, and what
Yeah,
the
it's like
chances
fanny
someone else
flaps.
will use it. Yeah.
It's like,
Everyone's going to be
alright.
watching out for this tag.
Yeah, it is strange.
They did have made it hard, but I mean, I've been watching you, and you're just flying it at the moment. Like I remember watching you a few months ago, and I have noticed your numbers have increased as well, and it's lovely to see. So I don't know what tags you're using. I need to steal them.
It's an interesting one. Like, there's no point complaining about it either, right? Everyone's in the same
No.
boat, so it's not like poor me. You might just, whatever.
Oh
'Cause there's
God, no.
like, yeah, it's not that. It's just what everyone's on,
I
and
think
I
it's lovely
think,
to see. You know.
yeah, I think, I don't know, like, because there was a stage like where I was about to like quit. I was like, I was ready to be done with it because I've been streaming. Like, I've had my account for 6 years. Like, it used to be called Krusty
Wow.
Cod, but like, um,
So you've always had
but
that humor.
but like,
Krusty
cod, not
Cod.
cock.
Krusty Cock. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We heard that
Cod,
here.
like
Yeah.
the fish.
Cock.
But yeah, so like I would say, like, when people ask me how long I've been streaming, like I kind of say, like, like I started once a week for an hour like 3.5 years ago, but like I had my account 2 years before where I would have done a random one every couple of months or something, but in terms of kind of when I started one day deciding, okay, I'll do an hour a week, and then from there, 2 hours in a day, and then it goes up, and now I'm like 4 days 5 hours a day. And like, but there was a point where like I was just going down. Like, there was a point where you reached a plateau, and from there it was just going down. And no matter what people say, like, numbers are going to affect you. If there's a downward spiral, like, they will, and in the same way, when they go up, they affect you. Do you know what I mean? It's just part of it, right? If things are going well, it's great. But like, I was gone down a good like 60% consistently, and I was like, fuck. Like, it was like, now I wasn't doing it full time at the time, but oddly enough, that's what made me try it full time.
Oh, really?
So it was kind of the opposite of the way some people work. I was like, shit, I'm doing terrible. Let's go full time. So now, in fairness, that's not life advice. That's not life advice at all. But it was during COVID, so I was like, you know what? And I just did 10 years of college. And I was like, look, I'm just going to let me give myself a year to give it a go. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I have the education behind me. I have my ducks in a row. I can go back to this if I want. But I was like, I'd like to, which is hugely important, because I think a lot of people, particularly like, young kids who watch, their favorite content creators, and are like, I want to do this. And I'm like, try it. Definitely. But I mean, the reality is, like, even to be at like, even to be at like 15 average viewers, which is brilliant. That's still nearly like the fucking top 2% of Twitch. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy, like, how far up that goes so quickly. But yeah, so I kind of doubled down on that, and slowly but surely, like, my community is there fucking most days, and I'm eternally grateful for that. You know what I mean? And it's by their generosity and good grace that I say, I get to live my dream. It might end tomorrow. It might end next month. I'm not unrealistic about it, but for now, great.
Yeah, I said I'm love watching it. I said I'll be sitting here working. I have you up on the monitor, and yeah, happy days.
I'll be like,
exactly, yeah, and I'll just be sitting there like, oh, I'm a lurky turkey.
You are a lurky turkey. That's what we call our lurkers, by the way. In case anyone's like, what the? Why is he doing the Xena Princess Warrior call?
But no, your community, I love it. You got, I don't know where you get your energy from. Like 5 hours a day.
It's kind of like
amazing.
For me, it's the same way. We were talking about kind of like masks and stuff earlier. Like, I make sure that, like, whatever version of myself I present is somewhat of an authentic version. But the same way, everyone's different in a professional setting. When you're with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or whether you're with your parents, you have a slightly different kind of version of yourself for each of those things. And for me, I think starting off having a lot of energy is kind of my mask to break into it. So I'll be like, how are you all getting on? How you doing? How you slaying? Welcome on into the Steamy Streamers. Let's get diddling and fiddling and, and all that. And that's my warm up. That's kind of my protection when I'm going into it, particularly if I'm not actually feeling that way at all. And it's not that you're putting it on, but the second you start it and you get that feedback, you're getting that energy loop. Where it's like,
for yourself and everything.
Yeah, there's hype then around that, and then that gives you energy. It's a symbiotic relationship.
It reminds me a bit of Bruce Buffer, because he doesn't go unscripted. He goes into the stage, and he says his little spiel. If they get hyped up, they get hyped up. It's great. But what happens the day he stutters?
Sure.
Like, what happens when you're like saying all this, like, let's get ready to, I don't know, cream and dream.
Yeah.
You butcher the next bit, and then no one answers. What happens then? Have you prepared for this?
Well, like it's kind of an interesting thing because I think by the fact that it's, there's obviously an entertainment, push on it, but I also think by the fact that since it's like still relatively being yourself, do you know what I mean? Like I don't go into a character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not quite what I'm doing. So if I stumble, people will just find it funny anyway. Do you know what I mean? People like, it's kind of, since it's already so silly that if I go, oh, fuck, what am I doing? Do you know what I mean? Or if I do that, people are just going to be like you're kind of covered from all eventualities. Like when I get a raid or something, I have a couple of prepared songs, you can do to like welcome people in and stuff like that on the guitar or whatever. So there's all those things. There's all buffers. So when my brain's like error 404, I'm like whip out the guitar, play a song, let's sing a song on karaoke. There's things that I have like buffers in place to kind of get me back on track and to kind of to work it, which is they've only very slowly developed. And I think that's the thing that I've noticed, which I think is interesting, that people who rise very, very quickly can also fall very, very quickly, because once you, like, I've been a very, very slow burn. I've been doing this a long time, and if I get an average increase of a viewer a month or 2 months or 3 months, even if it goes down and comes back up, at least you're interacting with the people that comes in. And that sense of, getting, like, if someone comes in and by the first time they message you, they're already going to be like, you're a cunt by, and you're like, whoa, okay. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, all right, fair enough. Or it's going to be like, they vibe with it and it's fine. You get to know them. And I think, once, if there's not like 100 people chatting at once and you rise quickly, you don't get to know those people and you don't get to create bonds with them. That even on your shit days, they're still kind of hanging out and being like, how are you? Rather than being like, this stream was shit today. You're not going to get that, what you could hypothetically get with that quick rise,
Yeah.
So I think from that point of view, it kind of feels like you're around, it is like a kind of it's a little town, do you know what I mean? Where everyone kind of knows each other and everyone chats amongst themselves. And that's what I love too. Like if I decide to like fucking go on a break, people are still, chatting to themselves. I don't even have to be there, which I think is a big important part of building community, that people within the community, that community exists whether you're there or not. I think that's kind of
not just a bunch of like strangers in a sense. Even though everyone's a stranger, everyone knows each other,
And that's what I mean. It's not like buying tickets to a show where, like, if you're going to see like a gig that no one knows the person next to them. This is like buying a ticket to a show where it's like your extended family are all going, or somewhere like a wedding, right? So, it's kind of in that capacity. So I find that, like, no, not always, but I think sometimes slow and steady is great for me. Let's put it that way. Slow and steady is good for me.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it is, because as you said, if you go too high, you have all these people in your chat. They're trying to have a dialogue with you, but there's so many people doing it, and they're all just popped in the same time or whatever the case may be, and it is hard to kind of have that bond with that person or that rapport. So that they're less inclined to come back in or so. But whereas if you're just streaming and one person comes in per stream and you chat to them, and then they come in the next time, you already know them, and another person comes in and you have that rapport built and you can keep building it. Yeah. So it's like laying bricks,
Yeah.
So, no, I agree.
And I think that, like, because there's a lot of people who have like those expectations when they start streaming that I think are unrealistic, and like I understand the excitement of it, and like obviously, don't get me wrong, if like 1,000 people come into my stream tomorrow, I'm not going to be crying. Do you know what I mean? But I think I think like always start with putting your best foot forward. Like always, like even when I had no one in my stream for a long time, outside yourself, I'd still try and do it as if there was a good few people in there. Do you know what I mean? So that when someone does pass by, they're like, oh, this person's engaging.
Yeah.
And I think if that one person comes in, be grateful for that one person. Get to know them, and when the second person comes in, you can introduce that one person to the other person, and you can kind of build the community naturally that way. Yeah.
I'd love to have seen a Steamy streamer stream from day one.
Oh yeah, I have some like early clips. I have some early stuff. See, I think I was working in an Apple reseller for like 5 years, where like the people I was working with, is where I said, like, if you work with people you like, it's fun. And I was kind of just doing that shit all the time. Do you know, because we were there 8 hours a day, fucking like standing like fuck our lives. Do you know what I mean? And kind of just creating entertainment, stupid things. Do you know when you're like the last hour in work and you're like, I can't, like my body physically can't fucking stay here anymore, and you're like, you're like, how are you getting on? Fuck, I can't do it, get me out of the door. You're kind of losing, that lose your mind energy.
Yeah.
Last hour on a Friday. Okay.
Yeah, last hour on a Friday,
Sit there
exactly.
tweaking.
I think take that last hour on a Friday energy and turn it into a stream, and I think that's the version of yourself you want to be. You know, that kind of slightly
I'm not too
delirious,
sure about
not
that now. Hopping on stage like, get me out of here! I hate all these
Hey.
people. Stop asking me
Oh my
stupid
God.
questions.
But you know,
Are you watching me?
do you know the silliness where you're so like like out of your mind, like bored, or time's not moving, where you start entertaining yourself? Do you know that, where you
Yeah.
start rambling nonsense to
Oh, yeah.
yourself? I think if you can kind of get into that flow state, is a better way of putting it. It's a nice way to
It's a
be.
great way to put it.
Some
we
of my
went from,
best
like,
clips come
being
from me doing that.
insanity to a flow state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's somewhere in between it, right? Because I also think you kind of need to have a bit of that insanity to roll with the punches too. Do you know what I mean? Because like, you know, particularly when you start streaming, and this is another thing, like, you know, when you're starting and one person comes in and they're an asshole, but you're like, well, they're my only viewer, so this is fine. I will bend over and take this. Do you know what I mean? That I think, you know, now no one should put up with that. By the way, I'm not saying that,
No.
but you know, there are times where you feel alone with that, where once at least you have a community, if someone comes in, you're all like, fuck you. Do you know what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay. But being alone starting off, and if someone comes in and you've been streaming for 5 hours, you've no viewer, and someone comes in and says you're shit,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And
That's
Do you guys have
going to be
any,
killer.
horror stories of that happening?
I have had, I think, a person before who kind of just gave me some sort of guff my first kind of streams, and it was kind of demoralizing. It was pretty demoralizing. Now, of course, over time, when people come in like that, I just kind of like say, yeah, you mean you don't have to be here, kind of thing, you know. Now I did have another viewer before, and he was one of my very first viewers, and he was with me for quite a long time. He watched every stream. He was fantastic, and he still is. But he was always giving me some sort of grief, you know, and in a good way. Kind of, I think
It was
he kind of
disguised
built
as
me up to be.
banter. Was it, or was
Uh,
it actually like, was it
It
something
was
you were okay with or not okay with?
Oh, I was okay with it. It was banter, like, you know. But then there was other people who came in, and as the community grew, they were like, geez, this guy, he's taking all this stuff from this other guy. But they didn't realize it was banter. But it set me up to be, you know, to change how I took streams and stuff. But yeah, I think it's important that when you do start, that when you get, like, let's say a couple of viewers in, and they kind of, you know, depending on how they are and depending on how you receive it, that kind of sets the bar for your community as well when you start
Mhm.
growing it. So
Yeah.
it's something to be careful of as well, because if you want to build this really fun, energetic community, you can't have, you know, that starting off with people who are giving you a load of shit, even though it's banter or whatever the case may be, because that will set the bar.
I think that
In a
the like
sense.
the line with banter is like, I kind of fucking hate the word banter sometimes, because people use it as like, you know, say something
only
fucking terrible.
banter.
Yeah, it's only banter. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
Only
well,
joking.
you can
Yeah.
fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it raises a good point about, if you are thinking about streaming, have your boundaries set from day one, because I didn't.
Mm.
And there was times I remember specifically that I'm like, why did I leave that person say that for so long? Do you know, like, I'm a bit of a
Mm.
slow processor too sometimes, so I'd be in bed thinking about it, and I'm like, that actually wasn't okay. Do you know, and during the time I was kind of, you know, rolling with it, and then afterwards I'd be like, actually, that's not okay. And I think setting your boundaries, and almost even having, if you need to have your own internal monologue to be like, this is what I'm going to say if I'm not happy with something and how I want to say it. It's actually not, I would prepare maybe more for having maybe something slightly scripted for something when it's not okay than anything else, you know, where you can be like, look, this is pushing this too far. This is, you know, we're trying to keep a safe space in here, and this is not something I'm comfortable with. If you do it again, it's going to be a timeout. You do it again, it's going to be a ban. Or if it's something you just want to ban them straight away, don't hesitate in that either. Do you know, I think it took me years to feel comfortable. Even I think I would have let more stuff slide early on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. The same as you just kind of let it go, because as you said earlier on, you get your first viewer or whatever the case may be, and you get excited, you know, someone's actually watching me. All right, they don't like it, they're calling me shit, but they're watching me, you know. So yeah, it is important to set those boundaries early on, because if you don't, you're gonna it's gonna affect you in the long run, I think.
And trying to be confident with the two, I think, to be like, you know, like, no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just like kind of a simple action of that. And that can be hard too, because depending on how, like, Jared, you know, if like, or me, or, you know, Cal or anything, depending on how your energy is, and if you're always kind of cusping, because I think my stream's 18s plus, right? And are both yours? 18.
Mine
yours is
isn't.
tonight?
Mine isn't
Okay.
until 9 o'clock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jerry's yours?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, you know,
Nah.
that case, because I think it takes a certain level of maturity to be immature. And I think
Yeah.
for people to understand the line in that in chat and be self-aware enough about like when we're making jokes, and then when someone, my main thing as well is never at someone if you're doing something. Like, we can all be like, you know, in my chat, it's like, Jesus, a great big juicy fucking, you know, whatever. Like, but if someone's like directing that at someone, you know, it's fine as long as it's in the grand you and an ether of something and no one feels singled out. Like, that's a huge aspect of it as well, I think.
100%. Sorry, I need to move a chair a bit. No, I agree. I said mine. My community is very chill. We love our chaos and everything, but it's very rare that we have like I don't accept any kind of we don't do any dark humor or anything like that.
Sure.
And
Unless I
sure, I'm
show
not unless you show up. Yeah.
Unless
And then
Jared
he
comes
just
in
banned
and
me.
it
We
is
time out.
Jared's coming in with his banter and be like, "Fuck you, Cal, I hate you," and you're like, "What's cross, boy?"
That jar. He's
Cal
such a
gets the
kidder.
most mid-streamer. He has 11 toes.
It's true. I do. I don't. All right, this is on
This
YouTube.
whole
All right,
fucking
this is gonna.
spiel, and then it's like, JK, just at the very end, JK.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it on text to speech and it's too long, so
Yeah.
text to speech doesn't even say it.
Yeah,
That's the thing with text to speech as well.
I love turning that thing on.
Yeah, you love it.
I do.
Have you ever any nightmare viewers, Jar?
A lady come in and
Aye.
she wanted the G from the man, and she was
Sure.
going ham. She got my Snapchat because it's actually on my it's on my Instagram still. I haven't changed that in a long time. I should probably get rid of it. But she had it. I'm just saying this now.
I should probably not have my address and keys waiting outside my map for someone to come
Yeah,
in.
but she added me, and it was at me. And I'm convinced still that it was just another viewer from my chat who just was trying to troll me or something, because they knew me better
That's me.
than they. I feel like they knew. I could recognize who they were, and they knew a bit more than they would if they were a first time viewer. So I had that one. What else?
So kind of a little bit of a stalker
I was wearing
vibe going on.
Yeah, I was wearing sunglasses.
Which is probably handy, actually, that you have the sunglasses on. Do you know what I mean? Because, like,
Yeah.
I probably hypothetically wouldn't recognize you if you're walking down, you know, without gleaming into your eyes constantly. Do you know?
Yeah, that's it.
But the other time was, I think my first subathon, we're playing Minecraft. This is like 5 months into streaming, and I'm wearing sunglasses, nothing like these. And at the time, I barely know who Dr. Disrespect was. I did not have this. I had like a stupid looking headset. It was not like this either. It was a glorified Bluetooth one. Glasses looked nothing like it. They looked more like the fucking MLG glasses than anything else.
Sure.
They're cool.
Yeah.
I like
He comes
them.
in and he's like, you'll never be Dr. Disrespect. You'll never be like him because he plays COD and this isn't COD. I'm like, I know who that is.
Wow.
Yeah,
But why?
I know.
And
I
it
get
was
a
at like 3, 4 o'clock in
crazy.
the morning time where I'm sitting there like, man, what an asshole.
Why?
Yeah.
What an asshole.
No need for it.
I get a crazy amount of Jacksepticeye stuff, like as
You'll
in
never
like
be
people come-
Jacksepticeye. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
well, basically, they come in and it's like, you're a Wanksepticeye boy, or like, you're fucking Jacksepticeye from Wish. And I'm like, it's
Yeah.
always people as well, generally, who aren't like Irish. So they hear an Irish accent, they hear me being loud, and it's just a slight bit of casual racism of like, well, you're loud and Irish, so that must be you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fucking hell. Now,
Yeah.
some people would say it as a compliment, and I never mind that. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of interesting because I'd say something if it was like, you know, I would have watched his content all the time growing up or something, but I didn't. I was more of a Game Grumps fan in my life. But it's just an interesting thing, I think, when people go in there and say it. And I think I would have got a lot more on TikTok already than I would have in the years of being on Twitch, because I think there's a lot of young people who just come in and being like, fuck you, I hate you. Do you know what I mean? Were you playing a game and having fun, you absolute asshole? My mum won't let me play.
That is funny with the Jacksepticeye thing. Cal, have you gotten that comparison before?
Sorry?
The Jacksepticeye comparison, have you gotten it before?
I've had many people come in and say, can you say
Top of the morning,
what's he
too.
say? Top of the morning, yeah.
Never had that.
Can you say top of the morning? And I mean, I depending on how they say it and how they ask. I'll say it and I'll do it my own way. Because I can't hit those high pitches like Jacksepticeye can. You know, I
Top of the
couldn't
morning
do
to
that.
you, laddies.
Jesus, it's Jacksepticeye.
I may
but I
have dug
suppose
myself a hole.
you're gonna hear that. Everyone's gonna want you to do it.
Oh yeah,
now.
I'm fucked now.
But I suppose in a sense, Jacksepticeye, you know, he's
Popularized.
he's
in
up there.
Irish.
You know, everyone knows who he is, and he's made every Irishman person. Everyone thinks Irish people go around saying "top of the morning" to you. Even though I don't think
we need
ever heard
to.
it.
I think as much respect as I have for him, I think we need to write him a strongly worded letter and to come on this podcast and just discuss, you know, the implications of top of the morning that has done to us.
What he's done
indirectly ruined my life.
All right, that's our next guest. All right,
Sorry.
Perfect.
Forget the helmet guy.
Yeah.
he's done.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
love Jack, but that is his most annoying feature.
He's stopped it now, though.
Top of the morning,
think,
to you,
Twitter.
ladies. My name is.
I
Jack.
mean,
Shut the fuck up! I know who you are. Play the damn game.
I don't blame him at all, man. Like, as in, you know, I don't think it's not ever like flim flam your gym jams. It's gonna become a fucking comedy set phrase. You know what I mean? But there is something interesting because, like again, over the years, I've never set out intend for anything to happen. Never intended to play guitar. Never intended to do the karaoke or become like such a main part of it. And like, cause I'd be like, I used to just say things. I used to go. You know, diddle my fiddle, flim flam my gym jams, hot topic, sugar bird, flip side of the peen vagine. It's like all those things that like came out of my mouth just ended up being said so much that have now become like things that people are like, I can't get out of my fucking head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't. And then we have songs like Get Your Tingle Out and all this stuff.
I love it. I love it.
It's
It's
just,
unique. It's unique.
It definitely is, since it's fucking nonsensical almost. But it's just become a thing. So it's become a thing, you know. You could put a T-shirt now, you know, for merch that says "Flim Flam" on it, and people are, you know,
Exactly.
they know it's a good thing. No, but
No,
I mean, look,
I personally think it's fantastic. I love it. Like, there's not many streamers you go into that, you know. A lot of people
Scream that
worry
shit at
what they say, you know. A lot of people just
Sure.
worry about what they say these days. Like, there's times where I say something on stream and I'm like, in my head,
you're like,
I'm thinking,
unpublish
shit.
the vibe, baby, delete everything.
Should I said that? Exactly, you know. But to have that confidence just to go ahead and do that, I think it's fantastic, and especially trying to be a content creator, you need that confidence as well.
Yeah,
So,
there's
personally,
kind of
I
like
think it's
there's like a
fantastic.
practiced filter of unfilteredness. Do you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
like, do you know, would all be hung for our thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a phrase I've always loved hearing. Do you know what I mean? Everyone can think the worst things or say the worst things in their head because, you know, you have an unconscious that's just going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just gonna happen one way or another. So yeah, so you got to be very careful. Like, you know, it's like an unfiltered consciousness. That's the best way of putting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you kind of know what you're saying, but you don't go off on a complete tangent either.
Yeah, there's a line you shouldn't cross at stage.
Yes.
Of course.
There's a line that will get you cancelled. Like my mods say they moderate me and not the chat. Do you know what I mean? That's, my mods are generally like, we're here for you, not whatever happens in chat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mods are great. We say it every time in this, but mods are lost of all my mods. They're they keep us going, you know? That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
It's and it's kind of wild as well because it's like, you know, I think it's interesting too, like when you've streamed as long as I have, there's like, you know, there's replay, like, you know, there's parts of communities that are gone 2 years ago and there's new ones that have come in. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, there's mods I would have had years ago that, not that for any particular bad reasons, but, you know, just like grew apart, you know what I mean? And you wouldn't have them anymore, you know, and it's kind of, I think that's interesting. Because you say you're both having streamed for just a year or under a year, is it?
yeah, I'm a year and Joe's just under a year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Approaching
interesting thing, right?
rapidly.
You're still babies. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, a year. I know a year seems long when you're doing it all the time, and it is. But it's interesting to see how things like have changed
It is.
over time as
I
well.
have seen
you know?
Easy
like mods and viewers kind of go and gone. So
See, this is why you wear the glasses as well, so we can't see the tears. Like, generally though, as a question to you, like, how have you found that year? Do you know? I'm assuming because streaming is a roller coaster, like, and it's, you know, I'm curious, right? Because you're starting off in 2021, I guess. How have you found it?
So, I mean, I suppose we started after the COVID sesh. You know, a lot of people started during COVID and they found a massive rise in that.
Mhm.
So we're coming off the end of that, where everyone's going back to their daily lives, and we're getting into streaming. So, you know, it's very different, because I've spoken to other streamers, and they're like, "Oh, I started at the start of COVID, and Jesus, everyone was just watching." But now it's like, oh, it's easy. I
Yeah.
think for me, I kind of just kept it going. But I can imagine that other people might be thinking, why? How comes no one's coming in or anything like that?
Mm,
Everyone's coming back to their own kind of things now.
sure.
But no, yeah. So I mean, starting at the end of it and to be able to kind of grow, I think it's a good boost.
Yeah, it
but
was
it's
a tough
something
time
not
to be able
get-
to grow when Twitch as an
Yeah.
actual platform was losing hand over
Yeah.
fist the amount of viewers they had during COVID, obviously.
Yeah, so it's been fun, but one thing I have learned, and especially the last couple of weeks, was, as we kind of touched on earlier on, getting onto all these different platforms and stuff. I think with streaming now, to be a content creator, there's a stigma around it where you have to be on everything,
Mm,
but it just does lead to burnout. Like, I took 4 days off, which for me is huge. But it's the best
same
4
as
days
last
off I
week,
needed.
yeah.
I needed it, and I think it's important for other streamers who are starting off and haven't hit it yet to just remember to, numbers aren't everything. You got to look after
Sure.
yourself. That's one thing I have learned from it, trying to grow this, just to look after myself a bit more. But other than that, I've been loving it. I've been really enjoying it, and met some fantastic people.
Mhm.
Like this guy here. There he is.
on
Look.
my stream,
You can point to me as well. Yeah, well, you just point to both
I
of us,
point-
okay? Just do kind of a.
I don't know where. Wait, Jar, where are you?
I'm on the
Because
side of your computer. Point towards your computer.
I got. Oh.
Yeah, I'm roughly there.
I've met this PC over here, a legend.
Love this PC.
Thank God I met this.
But yeah,
Hey!
there he is. This one here. Love this guy. Yeah. But no, it's been fantastic. As I said, meeting you guys and everything. Just meeting loads of different streamers. Met some viewers over the weekend of Gamerfest as well, and
Amazing.
it's amazing community. And I said, I wouldn't switch it for the world, but I think just taking time to yourself is very important too. That's
Sure.
that's how I found it.
Well, I
So
also
that
think you
answer it, but-
can't keep creating unless you live life. Like,
That's
so,
it.
do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, you get, like, when you start streaming, you have all these, like, jokes you can do, you have all these, like, experiences that you can use and turn into content. But then when you only start creating and you don't, like, have any other life experience, it's very hard to draw, like, day-to-day
Yeah.
stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, even like a story of you going out and doing the shopping can be something. Do you know what I mean? But it's very
Yeah.
hard when you're just like, you run out of that, and I think that's a part of it too. Like your humor develops, you as a person develops through reflection of other people and people you meet in the world as well, and going out there and doing things and having experiences. And so, you kind of constantly need a little bit of that, I think, to avoid like burnout too. Do you know, you're having experiences
Yeah.
in your life as well,
Yeah, 100%. How about you, Jar?
Don't start. What's the question? I feel like there was a question, and then we went on just a life tangent.
Yeah, I kind
So,
of went on a
are
tangent.
we now?
Sorry, that
on
happens.
on-
That happens to me.
Yeah.
So we were asking about I think your first year's experience in terms of, obviously, you said like a place that's like, it's a platform, you're vibing with and gaining your confidence.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the roller coaster journey of it, has it been so far like kind of grand going? Do you know what I mean?
Initially, it was insanity, and it's kind of like you smoked a cigarette one day, and then the next day you tried heroin, and from then
Okay.
on, you were only allowed to have like weed that was from like your uncle's jacket. Okay.
Interesting.
think of the high like this, okay? It goes from like literally nothing to whoa, and back to normal. Okay.
And it was this
I got rated by a
inside or
guy
outside,
with-
if you know what I mean. Was this your excitement for it, or was this
No,
the
no.
response you were
It's the
getting? Or
response I was getting. So
okay,
I remember getting rated by Insum, 2.5k people.
wow.
It was fucking insanity. I had like 200 followers. I had 400 when the stream was over. I was creaming
Wow.
and dreaming, baby.
Yeah, you were creaming and dreaming, man.
Like
Yeah, we'll get stuck in your head.
my average for that month was 35, and I was the
Very
top
good.
0 point something percent of Twitch
Yeah.
for that week or that month. And from then on, it's just been like going down. Like I wanted to give up. Roughly in July, I was back down to like 7. I was like, fuck. I had this opportunity and I wasted it. So
Which you didn't, by the way. It's
I
just how it
just
happens,
kept
you know.
going and going and going. It's like every time I see a new viewer, it's getting a gluck in there as fast as possible. Before you find someone, before you find Cal or Keith here, just gluck. Okay, now next, stay in chat. I'll give you another one later. But no, just focusing more so on the viewers now and like the person, not the number. Just climbing back up. Like my average is back up to roughly 10, and it's still going up. So
Yeah, which
but
is great.
initially it was just, holy shit, I have 15. Holy shit, I have 40.
Yeah,
It's 2,000 people in here.
But that is
Yeah.
like, it is a good analogy and it is a good problem, because it is like getting like a super high from something, and then you're trying to chase that high because of like that initial, success, or a big raid that comes in. Because so many people I've seen, and this is why I think sometimes, like, you're slow and steady can be good for your mental health, maybe the best. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because it is like being weaned off like crack after having it, and then having to, as you said, no, but it is a good analogy, and I think the fact that, if you're going on with it and then you're actually building your community again, and you're getting to know them, and you're going from that point, like that's solid, I think. And I'm assuming you're obviously happy that you stuck out with it now past the July point, and you're kind of readjusting, the good feeling that when someone comes in and they're like there for you and they want to.
Me every day, Keith. It hurts so much. No, I love it.
I'm going to recommend that you stop.
I do love it. Pardon me.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
No,
Question: numbers on or numbers off when you're streaming?
On. Don't be afraid of things.
Sure.
I used to have it off for quite a while, until the end of the stream, because it kind of sets my, what will I play? Am I going to play marbles? Am I going to raid out? Who am I going to raid? All this kind of stuff. Now I just kind of, I don't know, I always had it off up until recent, because I'm trying to, at the moment, trying to see when do they peak, I'm trying to get my times and stuff, because I've been always streaming at the same time for the whole year. I haven't gone past it. I mean, when I was in Australia, of course, I was doing a different time. But when I've since been home, since February, I've been doing the exactly same days, same times. But if I'm going to be working again soon, I need to kind of think of other things. So recently I've kept my numbers on, and I've been happy that I've had it on, I think.
Sure.
I always had this thought that, geez, having it on, if my numbers are low or whatever, it did affect me a little
bit. When they go up, it affects you too.
It does, because then it does affect you. It gives you that boost as well. But also it has that side effect. Then the next stream, you don't get those numbers, and you're kind of losing a bit. But I come to realize, look, I'm doing this as well for myself. I gotta enjoy it, enjoy the moment, enjoy the games, enjoy the people you have in there, and I've come to realize, just numbers, I mean, they are, in this industry, they are everything.
I suppose if you're doing it as a job, you have to keep an eye on it as well. But I think they're handy from the point of view that if I see an influx, I can, like, it is information I can use to, like, reintroduce myself. So if I see that, like an extra 5 or 10 pop in, I'll be like, welcome on into the Steamy Streamers. My name's Keith. We're lube and never rude, all a bit of sassy, sultry attitude, all those things, and kind of, you kind of address without addressing. Do you know what I mean? You can kind of put it out into the ether if you think there's new people watching and they're like, what's going on here? And at the same time, like, I definitely, and it is a double-edged sword, and I agree with what Jer said as well. You can't. I understand why people don't have them on if it really affects them. Like, obviously, because if it's going to really affect you, then you can't do your job. If it is your job. But email, like, I mean, Twitch is still going to, like, fucking email at you, being like, "You're shit." So
exactly.
you might as well know in the time than wait and forget about it for later.
No, 100%. So I'm happy to have it on now. I think it is good for yourself to have it on. And I think at the start of streaming, like when I first started, seeing low numbers always affects you. But I think once you get past that part and just enjoy what you're doing, happy days. Have those numbers on and just entertain to whoever there is. Even for yourself.
Sure. And I think as well, like, if you do feel down about it, like, because I catch myself doing it. I'm like, if I do start feeling like, oh, you know, it's a quieter day today, and I can feel myself getting like drained by me focusing on the fact that it's a quieter day today, I'll actually tell myself, like, snap the fuck out of it. It's actually almost
Yeah,
a reminder as well to, like, hey, you need to start engaging with the people who are here more. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because sometimes, like, you know, you can forget that. And it's like, hey, wait, do you know, if I get that feeling, it's actually a signal to me that I'm not, you know, like, wait, who's here right now? Like, who could I be, you know, asking about their day, you know, bringing a bit of levity to who's here. And then I think you find it builds up again. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like
yeah,
a way to catch yourself, like, stop being an asshole. Do you know what I mean? There's people hanging out
100%.
with you here right now who are supporting you. That would mean the world to anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think that's a good aspect of it as well.
because I mean, if once you do lose that energy, and if new people come in, I said it before, it's like you're in an interview chair, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Viewers that come in, they're looking at you as if it's an interview. There, you have to make that impression, even if you don't know they're there. But if you're worried about everything and you just lose that energy, people are gonna be like, "Oh, okay, not kind of for me." Whereas if you have
Sure.
that energy, or if you are in line of what they're looking for, and if you're just being yourself the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're more inclined to stay. So I think, yeah, just as I said, it's a good idea. If you have your numbers and they are low, maybe it's a good idea to use that to kind of give you a bit of an energy boost as well. You know, I like that. Never thought of it like that. You know, there we go. There we go. Look at that. This guy. I point the right way on my screen, innit?
I'm curious. What episode are we on of this podcast?
5,
This is
4, 3, 2.
3.
Don't put me on the spot like that. I think we had Trev, we had
Is-
Solo, we had Woods, so 4.
4. Yeah.
And then the super
And how
guest we forgot about.
How did you? I'm curious. How did you, like, if you don't mind me asking, like, conceptualize the idea of the podcast? How did you, like? Beforehand, were you already like chatting all the time, or like how did this come to be?
It's his fault. On my screen, it's his fault. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm at the bottom of all. Well, hopefully you don't have any issues. We're not going to be cutting our videos together because I'm down here. It's my fault, he says. Jesus.
So, Jer, how did Cal force you into this? How did he, tie you up and drag you along?
Promises of meeting an Arab prince. I was going to lead him.
Oh,
He's in the oil trade.
okay.
I have no ethics, but that was a lie. So yeah, we started.
Hey,
the podcast
no,
instead.
I just.
No. Do you want to tell her what I, Cal?
Tell it, Jer.
Go for it.
All right.
You've got this.
Cal messaged me, or me and Cal were talking all the time. Started doing a couple of calls, having the crack, and real recognize real. And at a certain point, he was like, "I can tell," or Cal said to me, "I can tell you want to take this seriously." I was like, "Yeah, I do." It's like, "Well, I do too," and I have a couple ideas when I get down, and we started brainstorming ideas we could do together, videos, whatever, and eventually we just, I threw up, we'll do a podcast, and he was like, "I want you, the SOS podcast," and here we are today.
And did you come up with the idea? Like, did you always want it to be like, streamers off stream, like, idea type of thing? Was that like conceptualized from day one?
I just came out of doing a podcast at the time, so I was just ready to do whatever the fuck.
Sure.
No, we always wanted streamers, but the SOS name kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Kind of wanted all content creators and just kind of see how people got to where they are, what drove them there, and just have general chats and bants.
Fuck you, but you're a non-spy band.
You know what I always do? I don't know what it is. Your this is going off the scale of what we're talking about, but your redemption, what like? Every so often you'll see me go, "What like?" Just copying you. But yeah, so I mean, the podcast, I think, like I said, myself and Joy really want to take this serious, and it's a good way for us. It's another, like, we're talking to people, we're networking, and it's just, I'm loving it. I just love chatting to people. But now, of course, we did take a couple of weeks off. I wasn't in the right place for it. We've been busy, so I'm looking forward to getting straight back into things.
Sure.
But overall, it's Jer's fault because he contacted me back in what, January? No,
I think you.
December.
I think your wife.
You put up a
contacted me.
post. Yeah, my wife is my social media manager. You see, well, she was. Jer put up a post. I think he was looking for streamers.
Mm.
That was it, and that's how the ball got rolling.
So it's actually
in terms
was
of,
actually your wife who is actually the catalyst for this whole podcast.
yeah, it's all scripted. It's all scripted.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything's scripted. When I
Gotcha.
go
Even him
stream,
reading
I'm
that right
reading.
now and me saying this exact
Yeah,
verse.
this was super difficult for me to come on and just be reading the script the whole time. None of these opinions are actually my own, by the way. Look into my eyes. I blinked twice to please get me out of here.
I memorized mine by heart, but I do have the rest of the script here, so just
Yeah.
What page are we on, by the way? This is also written down.
72.
But no, she's been great. I won't lie. Because I started this back when I was in Australia. I was working, and I wanted to do this, and then she's no idea about Twitch. Like when she pops, she's one of my mods. She doesn't understand games, but she loves the people in the chat.
Sure.
So she's been a huge help. She's helped me with my social media. She was doing a social media course anyway, so she was my social media at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't think I would be where I am with the growth without her. So she's actually holding a gun to me, so I have to say all this.
Sure.
But yeah, so I mean, it's been a huge help for me, a huge boost. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. It's good to have that support. I actually started streaming with my girlfriend. It was almost the idea was kind of like she didn't have a clue about games and I did, so she'd play them and I'd basically scream at her.
I love that.
Like, press square, like getting murdered. So she did there's early clips on my page of her playing all the way through Resident Evil 4 and
That's amazing.
The Last of Us. Which was gas. But then obviously it's one of those things then as it became more regular, and I was like, oh, I better do this consistently, and then as soon as that, and then she's like, well, I don't want to do it consistently. I was like, okay, so I've gone through a couple of rebrandings, in the like 6 years of technically having an account. Do you know what I mean?
Rebranding is hard.
It is.
It is like, I mean, it's kind of, I think, because there was a time where I was streaming, so with my girlfriend, who's still my girlfriend. Hello, Emma, by the way, if you're listening.
Hi, Emma.
And then I was streaming with my buddy Owen for a while, which we did that for that's when we kind of started doing like a year and a bit. And then I went back to myself, do you know what I mean? Which was kind of ultimately after like doing, streaming with other people for a while, it was kind of nice to go back into your own, because I suppose, it's when you're doing something like a podcast, it's fine. You're having a conversation. When you're doing kind of something like live streaming, it's a bit different because you're kind of entertaining in a direction. Do you know what I mean? So encapsulating other people around you, I think, can be difficult. Plus, splitting a Twitch paycheck that's already 50% out of you is definitely no way of doing it full time.
25%.
25% minus taxes, minus PayPal charges. Do you know what I mean? And coming with a good $5.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, but yeah, and then recently started doing a podcast with my pal Nisha as well,
which is going very well, may I say.
Thank you. Yeah, press any bunch continue on Spotify. Plug. And that's been like it was kind of a similar story, man. Like Nisha just put up a thing being like, does anyone have any recommendation? Who's Retro Gamer Ireland, by the way, for any good retro gaming podcast? I was like, why don't we just do one? Like, why don't we do our own if you can't find one that you want to listen to? And then we had no intentions of doing much outside recording an episode for the laugh and see how it went. Do you know what I mean?
Love that. I was going to ask you, how did the podcast start? So that answers that one.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nisha, like, we're friends, not like friends, internet friends on like Instagram. Like, we were just part of the gaming community. We used to post pictures of our setups and tag each other. Do you know what I mean? But we never, like, the first podcast was our first real conversation, one-on-one with each other.
Oh,
we never spoke previously outside voice notes the week before in terms of just what our plans and ideas will be for it. And we get derailed crazy, like, as in the retro gaming is just what we're kind of like a part we're passionate about, so we can start a conversation. But if it tends to go into childhood Irish stories of fucking getting Mawam stuck to your teeth while watching Pokemon and like fucking like whatever happens with it. But yeah, I think what the reason I'm saying is like getting to like for yourself and Jared, you know, like even doing the podcast together, I think you learn a lot about each other. And, you know, because you're in this kind of format as well, and you're giving each other space of how you want to talk and how you want to listen. And I think you learn a lot about each other doing that as well.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So congratulations on your journey, baby. Loving it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But for you, I said you're doing the last. Oh, have you done the last episode of the season? Is it?
We have. It's done now. Season 1 is finito. We did a
Season
little
one
Halloween.
is done.
We said we'd just do 10 episodes so we could take a break officially.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we said we'd do 10 episodes, get to that, which was 20 weeks work, you know, because we're doing an episode every 2 weeks. And then, you know, the week before you're editing it or doing whatever, which Nisha takes most of the brunt work of that. So thank you, Nisha. He spends a good 5-6 hours editing it out, all the ums and the ahs and the what, and the part where I'm like, you know, Stanny boy, I said something horrific there. Can you take it out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever's coming in, Juicy Couture style. Yeah. So probably just been great, man. Like, got a great bromance from it, you know? And it was a nice, different outlet of kind of, because again, streaming, sometimes you're kind of a little bit more in a stage setting, and podcasts, you're a little bit more in a kind of a couch setting. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of,
it's a different
avenue.
It's a different avenue. It's a different vibe to it, but it's nice to be able to sit back and, you know, because of course, as we were saying, you know, when we're streaming, we are who we are, but it's nice to step back from that as well and kind of have more of a chill go at it.
Sure, it's less pressurized in that way. And you know, when you're streaming too, like you're looking at a game, you're like trying to hand-eye coordinate that, you're kind of reading a chat, you're also trying to make sure you're interacting with the different people and what they're saying and remembering what's going on at the same time. Like streamer brain is a real thing. If you haven't heard of streamer brain, it's where you become a goldfish the second you go live and you don't remember or know anything about yourself.
Streamer, what was it called? Stream through. Yeah.
What was it?
We had what was it called? Our first episode or second episode?
Streamer fever.
Streamer fever.
Streamer fever. Yeah. It's true though, and I think anyone who tries streaming, even if it's just to play the game, like people will always tell me, it's like, Jesus, I'm exhausted after half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like particularly, and I think you build up stamina for it depending on what you do. But it's interesting because I think a lot of people obviously perceive it as just playing a game. Now, for some people, like not everyone, and I firmly believe not everyone is made to be a streamer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just true of any job or of anything. Like unless you're an expert at the game, like just sitting down and playing the game and not interacting, like, you know, it's not going to get you very far unless, you know, you're a pro at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Found one guy yesterday. We met him at an event recently, Cal. I'm not name dropping because I love him too much. I rated him. He didn't acknowledge it for like 10 minutes. He didn't acknowledge the chat for 10 minutes. All he was doing was grinding on a game. I was sitting in the chat so pissed off. I'm not like.
Was he playing Call of Duty?
He was.
I know.
Like,
exactly
I wasn't expecting to get the gluck for like rating somebody. I was like, hey man, first time stopping by in your chat. Thought I'd give you a rate as well.
Yeah.
His eyes darting around like.
Yeah, if I know who you went to, he is insane in what he does, and he's a fantastic entertainer. He's on. No, he get devoured, but this guy, he's unreal, and I have to give it to him. He is great for community, but once he's playing his game, he's in the zone, and he does apologize a lot for, you know, say, you know, it's a new game for him. But then other games, when he's grinding it out, he talks to chat as well. But this game is new to him, and he's just really pumping it out at the moment. But
I suppose it really depends, because like the game is just background for me. Do you know what I mean? Like purely like, as in the game is just something to do during the downtime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do also understand though that like I do accept that obviously depending on the, you know, the type of streamer, sometimes it can be like, you know, very overwhelming to get a raid, but obviously in this case it sounds like it was, you know, just kind of something else. But yeah, I understand, like it's, you know, you're bringing like, it's like you and a group of friends coming over to like a, you know, bring them to your shop or something and be like, hey, check this place out, I know the manager, and he's like, you know what I mean? But like, I know that's not the case of what's happening with that too. You know, if someone's focusing on the game, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, and it's tough, especially with a raid, because you're hoping to get, you know, you want to say hi and stuff, and if they don't acknowledge it, it's like, oh, I brought all these raiders in, and now they're not even getting acknowledged. So I can understand that part of it.
It's not like myself in the lab.
Yeah.
No, but that doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I know obviously people get excited by big raids, but like, it doesn't matter. Like, if someone brings 2 people, like, you know, Like for me anyway, but it's different. I'm definitely not passing judgment on that, because I think at the same time, like if that stream is like, about you're in the middle of a fucking,
Yeah.
game, and that's like the way they do things, that's absolutely fair enough. But like, I'll do the same. Like if someone comes in with one person, two people, like you will be getting loving it, wanting it, needing it on the guitar and screaming in your face. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, like I understand both sides of it, I suppose, depending on it. But yeah.
To be honest, I think I had a raid last night as well, and I was playing Visage or Visage, I don't know how to say it that hard.
Visage.
Visage. Or as we call it, actually, I won't say it on the podcast. I was playing that, and Granny was chasing me. And
Do you call it Vagine?
Vajayjay. We call it. We literally, when I talk about it, it's like, oh, we're playing Visage, Vajayjay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was playing that, and I got a raid, and it did take me a good 5 minutes to acknowledge it and introduce myself, and it was my fault because Granny was chasing me, and everything was zoned out for me, and I felt terrible for it because I am 90% chat, of 95% chat, 5% gaming. I felt terrible for it. I won't lie. I felt terrible. So if that person is watching this, I'm sorry.
Do you think like, I know that, like, could you like, I think sometimes if you can be like, thank you so much, I will absolutely get to you there in a few seconds, and give you, like, do you know what I mean? You can almost kind of, I'm just in the middle of a very high intense situation. I will promise you, I will like acknowledge and thanks a million. But then again, it's like people's brains are different. You know what I mean? People when they're in it, like they wouldn't even notice it, or they're focused on it. But
I think I did say thank you for the raid, but I didn't introduce myself. I didn't do everything I usually do, and I felt guilty.
You're live like 5 days or whatever. You know what I mean? Like however many days you're doing it, you're bound to, you can't be too hard on yourself either.
But yeah, it's one of those things. I suppose as streamers, you just kind of live and learn. I know now. Sure. Next time, just let Granny grab you. Granny wants hugs. So take that raid. So yeah, that was my fault. But yeah. But I know where you're coming from.
So for the future now, Jer, are you, sorry, did you say you're kind of in between? You said you're kind of a complicated situation between the kind of full-time aspect of it, obviously, and then kind of doing maybe side projects and stuff, is it?
It's college and
sure. Which in of itself is like fucking a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like that is the other job. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't fucking pay you.
Cal knows my commute, but when I tell people my commute, they don't believe me for how bad it is.
Where do you have to go to another county?
Yes. So I get up at 6.
Whole country.
My bus is a 50-minute walk.
Fuck.
I go to it.
50-minute
2-hour bus because there's all these stops.
Oh my God.
It's going to the ass and the nowhere in Offaly, right?
That's wild.
So that's 3 hours. I get up at 6. I'm not even there on time for my 8 o'clock classes. Okay, so I'm there at 9. I don't get out of there until 6. I have another 2-hour.
Fucking hell! That's dedication, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's insane. Well done for that.
Literally, like, get up crazy early.
Yeah.
Do my bit in college.
Mm-hmm.
Come home and stream. Go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
What is Jesus, coming home and streaming after that, I'd say it's like there's a lot of days where you're like, I do not want to do this. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's actually like a good point to bring up as well, because there are days where you're like, I don't want to do this. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's not talked about enough.
It happens, but it depends.
You gotta look after yourself. That's one thing I have learned is gotta look after yourself. Like
I almost I almost kind of equated to like going to the gym though. Do you know where it's like, I mean, I don't go to the gym. But like I almost equate it to like, there's a lot of times you don't feel like doing it, but very rarely do you not feel good after doing it. Do you know, like I think there's kind of that, like sometimes that initial hurdle, and I think sometimes the more you think you have to be a certain version of yourself, sometimes the more bogged down you can get with it. Like, I don't feel good today and I need to be this. But I think sometimes if you just go in whatever way you are, it can be okay too. And more than often not, like the chat will lift you up. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Make your day.
100%. Yeah.
Or your mom.
I agree with that one. But I mean, not sure with college. College is important, to be fair. Like it's one thing that I wish I took serious. Like while I was in college back in 2007, and I honestly wish I did better. I wish I gave it my full commitment because Yeah, I don't know. If I was college and streaming now, if I was how I was back then, does that make sense? I'd
Yeah.
probably just be streaming all the time and not going to college. So
Mhm.
having that commitment, I think it's good, and definitely, geez,
It
man,
took me like a
I'm
good
happy that
few
you are doing it,
years to like even find like I started off doing like an arts degree. Do you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
like, which is like, kind of pick random stuff and see what sticks and lands,
I hate those,
Um,
and I'm doing one.
yeah, but I mean, in fairness though, right? Like to the credit of it, I think I was doing like art history and I was doing like psychology and philosophy. And philosophy, even though I know it's like the classic subject, you're like, what are you going to do with that? But it really like opened my mind in different ways of thinking and directions. And then ended up doing like a master's in applied psychology and guidance and counseling, and then did a master's in art therapy, and then worked as a therapist for a bit. But then literally, one of my phrases now is like, oh, I spent 10 years in college to say penis on the internet. You know what I mean? For now, But I mean, man, the first fucking 5 years of college, I was passing by compensation. Do you know what I mean? And it was only until I feel like there was a certain level of maturity or interest in what I was doing that I started to actually kind of excel at it. Do you know what I mean? I think it takes time to settle, and like you really have to kind of find something, and you do have to start off. You do have to just go in 9 different directions to find out which direction you want to go in. Like the best thing to do is just try courses, do courses, see what you like about a part of that course, maybe narrow it down when you're done, or look at something in more detail about it.
Mm.
No, 100%. I think I wish I am thinking of going back to college next
Mhm.
year. Because I've realized now
Streamer
stuff that I want to
college?
do. Streamer college. Yes, I'm gonna do the course from Ninja.
You're gonna see me. You're gonna see me at the top of the thing, like a
Got
jaded,
slated.
retired, failed streamer, being like, "Fucking just say fucking flim flam, cream dream, just make things rhyme. You'll be fine."
Yeah.
It's like in like a coma state. Cream and dream.
Yeah.
Cream
Just
and
pissed on the thing.
Cream and dream.
Nothing worked out for me, you young bastards. You and your TikTok, you fucks. Should I smash the glass on the floor and walk out?
Sounds good. I'm there.
Yeah, so I
What
mean,
do
it
you-
sounds like an exciting course.
What do you think of studying?
Sorry, go on.
Something along the lines of media, because I did computer game design and then I did cartoon animation, and I touched on media, but I found that all I've done since streaming and all I love like editing and everything like that. So I kind of want to get in the realms of that. I know it all very well, but it'd be good to go to college even for a year or two just to
Life experience.
get it there. But I have the life experience. But as I said earlier on, it's so easy to have all these skills, but trying to show that to employers, they don't care.
Or trying to show it to Ireland is very difficult because, like, I mean, even therapy-wise and work for me, like, it's like you're setting up your own practice or you're fucked, like, for a lot of it. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
gonna have to go your own ways, and there's no budget for different things. And for animation, I know in particular, like one of my buddies did like animation courses and stuff like that, and would like, you really have to look outside Ireland first. Like, there's
Yeah, you
not a
do.
lot to go with, so it's tough from that point of view. And Jared, do you mind if I ask what you're studying, or is that a secret for now?
I'm doing media and marketing. So
Okay, cool.
you
So like
think
it's
they
going to kind of
relate,
relate back.
They don't.
Yeah, no, they don't. Okay.
No,
You saw the
thing.
title and you were like, let's go. It sounds like it should with the word marketing, but is it less about marketing yourself maybe and more about marketing
is
something
more
else?
about global economics than it is
Sure.
about marketing, and it sucks.
Okay. Sure.
It's my least
Sure.
favorite thing. But media,
But it's probably
I love it.
okay.
I've made.
But I'm assuming that marketing aspect might be like a gateway into something else if you want to do it anyway, right? If you wanted to maybe narrow it down possibly in the future.
Maybe.
Mm.
But I learned like a couple things, like the color thing and like the smell thing. How important that is in shops or like anywhere. It's pretty
Sure.
important. Like I just changed all my logos from being purple to not being purple anymore because
Uh-huh.
the vibes purple, the vibes purple give, they're not exactly to keep you around. It's a royal color and people don't like royal stuff.
Sure.
What about green?
Green, it's just seen as like when you say green, what do you think of? Nature,
That's my
like
stuff.
self-sufficiency, keeping it green, all that kind of stuff, because years of marketing and so on, or
Okay.
wild nature.
Okay.
What about like pink? Well, this is red,
Yeah.
but is pink?
That's red. That's red.
This
and
is
pink,
red,
yeah.
but there's like, pink is my logo. Is pink. Pink is probably like submissive, wants to be taken for a
Feminine
ride.
energy.
Anger. Angry.
Definitely feminine and
Sure.
young.
Well, I would consider myself a very feminine person anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I think it embodies my feminine traits, right? Because feminine, masculine isn't man, woman. It's just kind of
Yeah.
different traits and aspects, right? So, but yeah, that is really interesting. I also think as well, like I do like to like when I'm on stream, I do like to like I'll put on like a shirt or something that I like to wear, because kind of makes me feel good, and if it's like bubbly and energy, do you know what I mean? Like I have all these crazy shirts, do you know what I mean? That are kind of like wacky. I think
seen
like
some of your shirts.
Oh, you've seen more than that. Yeah, maybe you gotta slap it on in. Let me begin.
I was doing a role for normal people, and they wanted
for the show. Is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what they said was, we need you to dress gay.
Sure.
So I went to Penny's and I got the pinkest, brightest colors I could, because we were going into one of the biggest gay bars in Dublin. I don't know what it's called, but we were in there. I was the only motherfucker who bought their own clothes.
Yeah, right.
Motherfuckers, like,
I just worn what I wore.
I show up with this, like, oh, come on.
Gas. Did you get a position in normal people at the end? Can I see you in some shot somewhere in normal people? How did it go?
With normal people, you can see me with a red flannel in a pub. That's about it.
What episode?
I don't know.
Are we allowed to know?
Every pub scene was done in one day, so I'm in every single one of the pub scenes.
Sure.
That's a good show, though.
I enjoyed that show.
I do have an iconic shot in what do you call it? Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. Fuck! It was in this. What the fuck is it called?
Beautiful Mind. You are like one.
Fuck. Adam Driver was in it. It was set in the 100-Year War. Well, I can't even remember the fucking name of it, but I was in it.
Sure,
an iconic shot of me.
Call this episode whatever that movie is you can't remember, okay?
Yeah. Jesus.
It was his birthday on set, and they did like a bunch of cakes for him. I brought home like a slice of his birthday cake to my mom.
You brought home a Matt Damon birthday cake? Did you put it in a little collector's box and just leave it rot slowly on your shelf? And you're like, Matt Damon, I love you.
Here now.
Oh, Matt Damon. That's true. That's true.
That's fantastic.
Jesus.
Wow. Wow. I'm just picturing this cake in the corner.
It is called The Last Jewel.
The Last Jewel, okay.
I have an iconic.
I've never heard of it.
And shoot.
I haven't heard of it either.
He deflects the arm.
Is it released?
I'm imagining this iconic shot with you eating the birthday cake in the background, not knowing they're filming.
What do you want from me?
What, like?
What, like? Oh, fuck. What about you, though, Keith? Any what's the plans for you? Any projects coming up, or just kind of happy with the podcast? Or
so myself and Nisha are going to be meeting up soon. We're hoping to do maybe a little bit of video content. So we had this kind of idea. We're flown around there, and we don't know what we're going to do, right? So he's going to pop down to Cork, and we're just going to just try a couple of things, do a couple of like pilot tester episodes where we're not going to put too much pressure on it, but we'll just record, a couple of things together. We wanted to do a let's play called Stranger Danger, where we play each other's favorite retro games that the other one hasn't played, and we watch like a puppy dog, like someone who gave you a video of your funniest video, and we're like, yeah, do you like that part? Isn't that class? And then you end up hating it as a result. So we might do a few let's plays and maybe a little reactionary stuff, maybe do just an in-person podcast as well. Okay. And then just in terms of streaming, just like hopefully keep that going. I'll try and like do a little bit more of the TikTok streams as well, even though I know it gives you the icture. I
cannot figure out TikTok. I have the confidence to do this podcast, to fucking stream dressed like this for 4 hours, 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't put up a fucking TikTok. For some reason, the barrier is hard.
I'm loving my TikTok. I don't know what it is.
It's not even. It's not about the actual TikTok. Like it's just like going live on it, so you can download TikTok Live Studio. I don't know what the story is with that though.
PC's ass.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, it's crazy. It's also so broken. Like I have to mute all my mics to hear my mic. I just have to mute them all.
And you have to change your levels again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really fucked. But if I can get it running, and like, look, there's been a fair amount of people as a testament to it that have followed from that and come over to Twitch. Like, I've done about 4 or 5 streams and I've got more conversion. You know how hard it is to convert something. Like, how hard it is for someone to click from one platform onto another. That's the biggest killer of all killers. And I think the way to do it is when you're live, because when you're interacting with someone, it's like, oh, you should check out my Twitch. I don't stream at the same time. It's a separate content. And it's the same show. It's just a more relaxed, less frill show. And then the Twitch one's more the high end kind of production, in inverted commas, value of it. And there's been a good 30 people who followed from it.
That's fantastic.
Do you know what I mean? And that's out of doing 5 streams. I mean, I wouldn't give it 30 follows and 5 streams on Twitch.
How,
how
big
that's
are you
fantastic.
on TikTok?
I have 3,000 followers. Not big.
That's impressive.
But I mean, by TikTok,
out of 3,000.
Well, I mean,
insane.
if you're going what is it, 1% or 10%? If you get that, but I mean, the lives are it's weird because the community I built up from posting TikToks, when I posted 1 or 2 TikToks that went semi-viral, that got me that 3,000. Do you know what I mean? It was out of just 2 posts. The rest of it's are kind of you're fucking flopping your flaccid dick in the air. But it's the lives, the actual Yeah, for sure. I mean, to give you context, I did there was one TikTok stream I did, right, where 900 people passed through. And that would be twice the amount of discoverability I would have on Twitch. Even though the community is a lot smaller, I might have 10 active viewers, but there was 900 people that popped through. And there's no lurking on TikTok, which is the funny thing. A name pops up saying to join for Mike's second, and Mike's like, come back, wait, hello. But
I feel terrible when I join a live stream because of that. I was in Cal's today.
Do you, man? Keep coming in and out.
I was in his chat, and then I was on TikTok, and Pat Step's like, "Oh, look, it's Jared," and I'm like, "Fucking dude, why would you say that?"
Was that last night's one?
That was last night.
Man, I had so many people watching last night, and
I got to 1,000 likes. You had 600. I liked it 400 times.
This is why I'm double tap the screen, flick the bean, get in your Steamy Streams.
I was just going ham. I was like, come on,
and I've actually
get in there.
I keep saying to people, share it with one of your exes so we can talk about where your relationship went wrong. And someone actually did it and brought it in. Now, they were on good terms, so it wasn't that funny. But it was it's a funny one. I'm always like, here, share with your grandparents, get them on in here. Do you know what I mean? It's a different thing. It's fun. Look, at the end of the day, I'd make it very, very clear to the people who watch Twitch and stuff as well, because I think sometimes they get worried. It's like, are you moving to TikTok? It's like, I'm not. It's an extra thing. It's an extra thing I do when I can, because just discover. The other thing is when you make money on TikTok, you get it that day, that instant. So I got
little would you get? Remember that video?
I got 20. I got 20. It's the same thing as bits. There's bit. So it's identical to bits. So €1
at the moment.
If you get I don't know, fucking 4,000 gifts, it's what is it, is that £2? Or if you get 40,000, it's no. Sorry, if you get
€4.
Sorry, €4. Yeah. So it's basically that. So if you get 10,000, I can't remember what it is, but anyway, I got £20 off one, and I could just go withdraw straight into my account. Yeah, which is very cool. So hypothetically, that's a cool feature as well.
Or you can use it straight away to gift to other people, which is fantastic.
You can convert it into the coins and stuff. Yeah.
It just happens straight away. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool,
Yeah, I think it's something that I'll try. I want to do a little bit more of it, because obviously if there's, if you are building discoverability that brings to your Twitch, because at the moment I'm playing games that I want to play, that I enjoy, and it's great content for my community, and they're really receptive and they're really generous around it. But I'm not getting any new, you always go through a drought where you're like, well, I've been on this follower account for 1 week. Do you know what I mean? After doing 20 hours, and you haven't got one new person. And now the streams can still be going well. That does not mean that. But in terms of, at the end of the day, I always felt like I had enough kind of confidence that at least what I'm doing is decent enough that if it can be put in people's laps, they might enjoy it. I'm a bit like Marmite, maybe you'll hate it, maybe you'll like it, but I think it's just a discoverability thing. So, and that is there's also this less pressure, fun way of streaming that kind of reminds me of when I started streaming. Do you know what I mean? Where it's kind of you're sitting down there and you're like, fuck it. Whatever happens, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I have no expectations. That's it. I have no expectations. The bar is at fucking zero. If one person comes into the TikTok stream, I'm nearly getting more of a high than if 1,000 came into Twitch. You know what I mean? You're like, woo! Yeah, baby. So it's just
no,
kind of
I hear
interesting.
you
I'm
there.
gonna
yeah.
dip for a second. You guys keep going.
Yeah, no
Yeah, no
bothers.
worries.
Just know
Hi,
I'm
Jar.
gonna appear behind one of you for like a split second. Like my head's
Oh
gonna
my
come in frame.
god! Oh my
Yeah.
god! I'm scared.
I'm not
What's
He's
telling you
actually in
happening?
the other room. He's in the other room.
He actually lives under
Um,
my desk this whole entire time. But yeah, like there's stuff like that that's fun. And look, I can definitely see that people like are kind of like, oh, you're streaming on TikTok, like stop. But I'm like, look, this isn't taking anything away. This is just something additional. Or like in fairness, sometimes like if there's a Twitch stream quiet that day when I'm 4 hours in, I might do the last hour of a TikTok stream. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, look,
yeah.
I'll send you the link there. You can watch it on your PC. You don't need an account. You can just pop over if you want. Do you know what I mean? There's no pressure. But yeah, there, you're kind of judging meeting expectations of what people want as well.
That's it.
Because I've
Like,
seen
I've
people
been-
be like, when I've like posted a link, like, oh, I'm gonna go live on TikTok random, like, oh, TikTok. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Who uses TikTok? Yeah, I've a few people in my community who don't have TikTok, and I have gone live on TikTok a few times.
exclusively or multi-stream?
I've done both. So if I go exclusive, it's just because what I've noticed from my following on TikTok, it's completely different to my following on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So because of course with TikTok, I'm going for a different niche.
Which I think is a
so,
really,
yeah.
really good idea, by the way. I like a different vibe, I think is both good for you creatively and also by
Yeah.
the fact that I think you have to actually like not change yourself, but like have a different approach to different platforms. I don't think just like copy and pasting it over. And there's a lot younger audience on TikTok.
Yeah, there is. It's like I do YouTube as well on Thursdays, fortnightly. And again, because my Twitch, it's all about chaos, you know, like it's buzzing. It's all music, party,
Similar
go,
vibe.
go,
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
go. But then on YouTube, I use it as a way of have more of a one-to-one with my community. Like people come in, they don't have those alerts. It's not going rapid, and I play games that I wouldn't play on Twitch because my games on
it's
Twitch
less pressure, man. You're they're like just because it's not your main. Like I don't know, maybe YouTube isn't an equal. Like is Twitch your main? Like is that
Twitch is my main?
Yeah.
My
So
Twitch
I feel
is my
like
main.
when it's a secondary, you're not so like you're like for me, obviously I'm a full-time content creator. It's my job. If I don't do well on Twitch in a month, I don't fucking eat. I don't pay my rent. That's a very real thing. Do you know what I mean? So then naturally there has to be an element of pressure that's placed on that when you're on Twitch, you know, that you're firing on all cylinders for those reasons, which anyone has to do in a job. It's just a job, right? Like that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Well, it's the job if you're self-employed. It's a self-employed job. So if I open up a shop and no one comes in that day, you know, like you're stressed out a little bit, right? So like from that point of view, it's a job like that. Because a lot of people say that, oh, fucking get a real job along with being a Twitch streamer. They're just confusing Twitch streaming with being self-employed. Any person who's self-employed has the exact same struggles as a Twitch streamer. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing, right? So it's just, I think people sometimes get confused between a job and self-employment or, you know, being employed by someone else. Obviously there's security in that, which is fantastic. So I think sometimes having a secondary platform where like, you know, that's not the breadwinner per se, which means, you know, you can also kind of just, you can breathe into it. Whatever happens. You're not,
Exactly,
you're just there purely to have fun. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, cause I've had a week on Twitch, like where like literally I'd say like made like €2 in the entire week. Do you know what I mean? Like it happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
It
just,
does
it's just
happen.
randomly and it could be, the weird thing is it could be the same time you have the most average viewers. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't align.
Things could be hopping. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a triangle of like followers, average viewer numbers, and subs, right? And I feel like you're getting kind of a part of the triangle at different times, you know. And some people might say, oh, like, you know, like talking about fucking the financial side of things is it, but it's not. It's your fucking job. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's how you survive. And I think like I'm fairly transparent with that, like on Twitch. Do you know what I mean? In a way that I think is like, you know, like that I'm super grateful, like when there is generosity there for it. And the way I look at it too is it's almost like buying a painting, right? Like someone's going to be like, this form of entertainment, what I'm seeing here, you know, based on, you know, whatever I have or whatever value I place on it is what I want to give towards that to keep this thing alive. Or I think of my stream like a community center that like I open up the keys and as long as we can kind of keep the electricity and gas going, we can keep the place open. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I love that mentality towards it. Yeah. Because I'd be the same. I said for me, like streaming, I mean, I'm fairly early into it, but for me, I'm lucky. I'm just happy that there's people even watching, you know.
And you're doing a million
At the
times
moment.
better than I was doing in my first year. A million times better. How
It's-
many followers do you have in that period of time? Like, it's fucking. What do you want?
Well, it says on my screen here. I'm at 1,583.
So to give you context to that, the first year I started doing it semi-regularly, I got 150. So
Yeah. I don't know,
You know what I
where
mean?
I went through a few weeks when I came home from Australia. When I started streaming in Ireland, I don't know, I started just breaking into the Irish community more, and
Mhm.
I just had this growth, exponential growth, like, and even my views has just been massive compared to what it was in Australia. Now, of course, Australia, I find Irish, we love to help each other. The Irish, it's just our nature, you know.
Mhm.
So a lot of Irish streamers and stuff pop in, and I've just been really making good contacts and just getting to know some amazing Irish streamers like
Yeah.
yourself, and just making friends and
Thank you.
stuff. Whereas when I was in Australia, though, that just didn't exist. You
Mm,
know, it just didn't exist. Like, there's loads of Australian streamers, but they just do their own thing. There's no networking there. You know, it's very
sure.
difficult.
And that's like
So yeah,
that's such a big aspect of it as well, right? Like, as in,
yeah,
because I think you need to watch streams. Like, actually, I didn't watch. Like, I started streaming and didn't watch anyone, like, for the longest
yeah,
time, you know, until I built up a community, and then I started watching my community streams, you know, because like I got to know and like the person. But I do think it's interesting to, like, at least check in and watch other people as well, because you learn a lot about what you like. And I think also watching back your own streams, not religiously or entirely, but, like, you know, skimming through some things and seeing how you present yourself, and like what you
yeah,
like to hear out of yourself and what you didn't think gels so well. Do you know, it's there's no harm sometimes in looking back on that, because at the end of the day, you're presenting yourself. Do you know what I mean? And you're kind of
yeah.
trying to see what's the best way to do that.
No,
Jer, welcome
100%.
back. We've missed you. Did you go for
Hi, Jar.
a cheeky wank?
Not so cheeky. You probably heard it on the mic.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty,
That's what it was.
it was pretty intense.
Next time, mute your mic.
So good to me. I'm gonna fuck. Oh, shit.
Okay. That's not out of you today. Sweet Jesus.
But no, I said no. I've been loving it. Jar's been
Yeah.
loving it, and I think you've been loving
What
it.
am I loving?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't change it for the world,
what
as
can
the
I say?
world doesn't force me to change it. You know what I mean? As long as I can do this. Now, obviously, as you said, there's complications when it comes to, like, mortgages and things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't have kids at the moment, so it's you know, it's one of those things that obviously, like, you know, life circumstances will change that a lot. But
Yeah.
you know, for now, you know, I've given myself a period of time, did all the college, did all the study and stuff, and like I'm loving it at the moment. So, you know, long may it rain, and if it doesn't, I had a good time while I did it. You know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna keep growing. You know,
Fingers crossed, Biden.
Yeah.
touch wood. Jesus, yeah, it was at
Yeah,
that
mate.
moment Cal fucked everything up.
Yeah, you've cursed me for the rest of time.
Cards. Yeah, I was only getting 2 viewers every stream. What's going on?
Yeah. We
Drops
just
down
need to.
himself and it's like a laptop.
Do you know what I would
Yeah.
fucking
Type
love?
in
I'd love to be
pretend
making
stuff,
enough
like-
money that I could actually, like, pay my fucking mods or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're raking in the
Yeah.
millions. Do you know what I mean? Put in an employment contract on them, away you go.
I'd
That'd be
love that as
fucking.
well.
That would be
I'd love
amazing. Do you
that.
know? If you were like, if it actually became a semi company and you could actually, like, you know,
I
fucking
live
hire your
for the day
fucking
I can
peeps,
hire
do you
an
know?
editor.
yeah,
I live
it would be.
for
it
it.
would be
If I
great.
got to that stage, I would be doing it 100% because I
Yeah.
appreciate my mods so much. You know,
Mm.
I feel like they're in their streams more than I am, which is you know, they're
Keeping it
amazing.
going,
Yeah, they do keep it going. You know,
for sure.
So yeah, if that stage ever comes, 100%, and then there's gonna be loads of applications for being a mod.
yeah. Well, that's the thing, right?
You know, so but no, I said we got there is an app I think that you can split your sub revenue. I think, yeah,
What?
yeah. There's an app you can use.
Don't be
which
telling the
s-
mods about that. I can't afford that yet, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Shut
yeah,
up.
This is, as I said, I'm cursing you here now.
Jeez, if I had to split my revenue like 9 ways, I'm in big fucking trouble.
Yeah.
If I had to split my revenue 0.5 of a way, I'm in big trouble. I'm at like, and I say to myself, if 7-year-old Keith could see me now, he'd be fucking over the moon. Like, even if it's just living the artist lifestyle, scraping by, that's still fucking amazing to me that you can do that out of something you've created yourself and rocked it on in. Because I used to have a camcorder, you know, one of the classic like mini tape ones, and I used to record me and my friend playing Resident Evil 4 in a CRT. Like, just we were doing this since we were kids, like, do you know what I mean? So to have it come into like some form of reality is like, you know, more than I could.
Crazy.
I'm already in essence like living a dream. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's not a very fucking
creamy dreamy, if you will.
a creamy dreamy. There's no better way to end it than that, man.
I was talking to somebody at Gamerfest, and I was trying to describe you, but I didn't know your actual name at the time, and I was like, fuck, what's your name?
Creamy dreamy. Was this Tanisha, by the way?
Are they ginger?
Yes. He told me about this.
Yes.
He was like, yes, he told me about this. He said he's the co-host of my podcast, man.
Yeah,
he's the other guy on my podcast. Yeah, so he's so funny because he voiced on me. It's like someone came up and described you and knew you as creamy dreamy.
Yeah, because I use every other way to describe you, and nothing stuck.
But doesn't that mean fucking doesn't that mean the fucking branding works?
It does.
Yes.
It does.
Right? If someone knows me as one of my sayings, then I got to be doing something right.
That's actually
I need
hilarious.
to find a new saying that's not just screaming slurs on camera.
Yeah, I only have a goodbye. I don't have any other things. You know, I have the same outro, but I don't have anything else within the stream. I need to.
My outro
get a
is
wiggle
very
on.
weird. It's Have you ever watched Misfits? With Misfits with Robert Sheehan in it, where they all had like superpowers.
Oh,
No?
might have
Okay.
a long time ago. I don't know.
Yeah, there's just some weird sayings I had from like years ago from that show. I'm not gonna say them now. You watch the next stream, you'll find out.
Watch.
Watch the stream, man. Get over there, yeah.
I'll be in there later after the gym. Don't you worry about it.
Oh yeah, he's got the gym now.
Yeah.
Massive.
I had gym at one
He'll only work on
personal
his arms
personal
for
trainer.
about 6 months.
Mm.
One day, like,
One arm as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like this before Gamerfest. I kept climbing stairs. I wanted to die, man. I was walking. I was on my feet the whole time. Fucking jelly legs.
Man, we should bring both our podcasts to Gamerfest next year and have like a war. Press an A button to continue versus SOS.
What do you guys call them?
That could be fun. That could be fun.
We should do it, and you know what we should do? We should set up some mini games. You know, a bit of Mario Kart action, 2v2 action, something like that. I know you're all about the 1v1, Jer. I understand, but look, we're gonna just get it on in with.
He's always wanted a 1v1.
You know, I've never
Wants
lost
the
a
1v1.
You've never had one.
Yeah, there you go.
I've only had one.
That's
I
like
had
saying you've
one,
never
actually.
been bad at sex. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no, you gotta wait for the opportunity to arise to find out if you are or not. You know.
Oh, brilliant.
I've never lost a space race.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. Now, there's one thing we usually ask, isn't there, Jar? Have you had what's your worst social media? Well, how do you ask it, Jar?
I don't
When it comes
know.
to social media.
What's the
Tell me.
nightmare
I want
post?
to know. Ask me a question. You haven't asked me a question yet. Ask me one.
Have you? There's a Jar usually has this question.
It's been
The
so
worst social media comment you got. Do you only get like people messaging you privately?
Oh yeah, your worst DM.
What's the
yeah,
worst?
yeah.
What's the worst DM? That's the DM. What's the worst DM?
We got some horror stories here. Like you
We got some horror
step up here.
stories. And we generally finish up on your worst DM.
That's really positive.
Yeah.
Geez, I don't know. I remember like I just Reddit's a bad place in general, right? Like as in I remember I used to post I had some edits of like myself and Emma playing The Last of Us and like that shit was unkind. But like I don't specifically have a memory that at least I've held on to that I remember with it. I think as well, it's kind of almost hard to fucking rip the shit out of me because I'm already kind of in the zone of like talking absolute fucking nonsense that I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know. What was yours?
I've always been okay with my ones. You've
Hmm.
only had one, Jar, and then we've had some good stories though.
I'm
From
really
other
sorry
people.
to let the
Guy
side
messaged
down
me.
here.
No,
Says,
it's
hey,
all
says
good.
hey. I say hey back.
Huh?
Says he's a fan of what I do.
Okay, ask me another question. Go.
Cool.
Just ask me another one. Go quickly. Go.
Sends us
Go.
us.
Jer, ask me a question. Go.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'11". Cal, ask me another one. Go. Because I stretch myself. Cal,
What are your shoe size?
10. All right, ask me another one, Jer.
Rate yourself 1 out of 10.
7. Cal, go.
Favorite game.
Ooh, fucking cunt. The Last of Us Part 2. Jer.
Best porn genre.
Oh, compilations, just, quick and easy. Flash against my face, serotonin buzz. Cal?
Favorite Nintendo protagonist.
Luigi. Well, is he protagonist? He's more of a. Is he more of a.
He's
Okay.
not a protagonist.
Link. Jer, one more. Let's go.
Best chocolate flavor. Or best
Best
chocolate
what?
bar.
Best chocolate bar. Oh, Mintero from the freezer.
Get the fuck out.
Oh.
That's actually
All right, Cal, last one. Let's go.
Steamy Streamers. Where'd you get the name? I think I know the answer anyway, but let's just finish on more on how you got to where you are. How'd you get the name? How'd you go from crusted cod?
Krusty Cod. Cod was actually Krusty Cod was an Xbox Live username I got when I was 14. That was set up for me, and KOD was just my initials, and Krusty was put before it. I wanted just Cod, and they gave me Krusty Cod, and it just went on forever. Steamy Streamers came because I like alliteration, and then my friend one day was like, "Ooh, let's do some Steamy streams." And then I was thinking about, when you used to watch those dirty Sky Digital channels in the 900s, and Steamy Streamers sounds like it would have been a channel in the 900s of Sky Digital. So I was like, this kind of describes the essence pretty perfectly. You know what I mean? It's kind of steamy on in there. And my dad my dad got me this light as a Christmas present, like before I was really streaming properly, just because I had the Instagram account and put stuff in there, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fucking perfect. And one thing led to another, and here we are all creaming and dreaming together, going, baby.
Love it. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. I always wondered. I always thought steamy. Keith he's pretty steamy.
Yeah,
he's a streamer. So that's kind of where.
But it
I
also made more sense when there was more than one of us.
Oh yeah, true. It's not Steamy Streamer.
Steamy Streamers. Which I'm hoping eventually, if one day I can get partner, I can just create a stream team called Steamy Streamers, and then it all makes sense again. So really, if you could help me out, just make my name make sense again. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
So yeah, when we advertised this, we interviewed Steamy Streamer.
Yes.
Of the Steamy Streamers, because we're a community, right? That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, we're a community with much
community.
Community, yeah, get it right.
Community. No, I love that.
So I suppose we're finito. I miss you already, even though you're still here.
I know it's been beautiful.
After this, and they're like, Jesus, I love him so much. Where can they find you?
Typical, yeah. You can find me at Steamy_streamers on Twitch, and Steamy Streamers on Instagram and TikTok. And then you can find me with my co-host Nisha. An amazing podcast, like really probably the best out there in the Irish brand right now. Press any button to continue on Spotify, baby. I'm looking forward to I gotta create a little bit of drama for the 2v2 in Gamerfest next year. Okay.
Oh yeah, is this where we're going? Yeah. All right,
this is where we're from now. Well, banter. By
don't forget to cut this part out and dub over it. All right, we'll dub over it. We'll say, don't forget to watch SOS podcast.
You nearly forgot your own name there. You almost said press any button to continue again. I felt it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, press any button to continue on Spotify. Check it out and have a listen. It's juicy. Can I make a recommendation? Start with episode 9 if you want. Start with episode 9. It's a good one.
Episode 9. Okay.
Episode 9. Just slap it on in there. I'm just gonna put it out there just in case.
Just in case. So that's so you did like other movies where it's like you do episode 1, 2, and 3, and then you do the prequel.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you go back to your first one and you're like, yeah. No, the first one is good. The first one's good, but I think 9 is a good place to start because it's just a top 10. It's easy, and then you can go back to 1 and then you can get to know us.
Brilliant.
There you go.
No, I love that. Definitely check it out. We'll have the links as well.
Thank you for having me.
It's
been wonderful. And to everyone listening, you're cute, you're kind, you're smart, you're important. And always remember, cream your dreams, diddle your fiddle, and Jim Jams on your flim flams. Okay, thank you.
Jim Jams on those flim flams. Oh, yeah. All right. Good luck, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Jar, anything to say? Huh?
Until next week, I miss you already.
Good luck. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Until then. Bye.